multiple ninjutsu art cards. It's like there's multiplication in there as well. There's the transformation. So this is but it is Book of Moon, and he instantly on the summon of the Fenrir goes after it with a Book of Moon. So Flavio sits there now with 3 set monsters and is shaking his head and is being like, "Why are all my monsters face down?" Apparently, it was a trick by the ninjas.
It is an interesting decision because we know that he has Kashtira Scarecrow in hand.
We do indeed.
So the second card should be another Book of Moon to get rid of a possible Exceeds monster. However, if you go for a Zeus play here, there is not a lot left for Flavio either.
Absolutely not. He basically committed everything into that. And I mean, he has 3 face-down monsters, which would also go away with the Zeus.
But do you have to go for a Zeus play here? You have the planet. Your opponent does not have that much on board. You could just possibly go for a Shangri-Ira and in standby phase summon out a Fenrir, which is another interaction, and get a pop from the field spin.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is actually true. But how much defense does Geo have? Geo is on 29 defense, so that could theoretically even be enough to withstand an attack from a lot of the XYZ monsters, right? But not from the Arise that you were just talking about. That is possible or able to run over for sure. So, yep, we are going into rank 7. And does Fuad have another Book of Moon? That would be very, very, very important here.
So we are going to see. I think that Flavio is going for the play that I just talked about for a Shangri-Ira. It is a rather
indeed.
Defensive play.
Yeah.
It makes sense to special summon out a Fenrir on the opponent's turn and get the pop.
Yeah, it definitely does. But that does not deal with good old Geo sitting there on the field. Yeah, but it is indeed Shangri-Ira pass in the standby phase. We are going to special summon out another monster, or maybe Fuad is thinking in draw phase. Imagine he just drew into Book of Moon for turn or something and then just books with Shangri-Ira. But no, standby phase effect is being activated and is also resolving. There is the Fenrir you were just talking about. And Geo still standing very strong, and we are going after the trap. He instantly wants to get rid
of Fallen Leaves?
Of Fallen Leaves, yeah. Dancing Leaves, I'm sorry. Dancing Leaves. So, is he... I mean, wait. We can just chain the effect, because you can actually tribute opponents' face-down monsters. I think we're just going to chain that here. It's a trap. It can be activated whenever, and we're just tributing our opponent's monsters. That's what I was talking about earlier. You can just use your opponent's monster now to special summon out Hanzo, which then gives you more ninja monsters. I think we might be able to actually do stuff here.
That is true, and also it is his turn, so he can actually use those monsters. He doesn't even have to special summon out another interaction. He can just use Hanzo for the body and for the resources.
Ooh, but he's deciding to tribute his own Geo, apparently.
Okay.
I mean, why are both of his monsters gone now? He's also not looking for
the reason why Geo is not on the field anymore is because when the Art of Dancing Leaves leaves the field, the monster that was special summoned by it is also getting destroyed.
I see, but why didn't we chain the effect of Dancing Leaves then? Is that can you just use it on your opponent's turn or something?
Nope. I'm gonna get it up for you guys again. So you have the chance to read this card again as well.
So I'm a little bit confused. Oh, but there is the equip spell coming. Ninjutsu Art Jewel Iron Digger. And he actually says the equipped monster gains 5 from the attack, which is not the relevant part though. But you can banish 1 ninja monster from your graveyard to actually just destroy a card on the field. Yeah, and you should definitely read Shangri-Ira there, because Shangri-Ira can protect itself. So that would be not what you want to pop here.
Not the ideal target. I think he actually still targets it. He pointed to it. What he wants to do is to target the Kashtira Fenrir, pop it, and then Iron Digger gets destroyed as well, and then triggers, so it special summons out a ninja from the graveyard.
Is it from the graveyard or only from the banish pile? I mean, no, you're banishing for cost to actually destroy the card, and then you can special summon one out from the banish pile. I think that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Guys, be patient with us. This is our first
Yeah,
ninja
of
matchup
course.
as
We are
well.
also learning. But look, he is banishing the Hanzo.
Yeah.
So that would make it available to be special summoned back out with the Iron Digger.
Honestly, this does not look too good for Flavio.
Seriously, ninjas are looking pretty decent here because the Kashtira deck is, as we said earlier, not really a super heavy combo deck. It's more of a control deck. And right now, Fuad is getting into the control game here versus that deck. So he might have a shot here for sure.
We are seeing a lot of equip spells this tournament.
Yeah, true.
They are making a comeback.
Oh, but he actually is trying to pop the Shangri-Ira, which is protecting. But he must have more stuff to do. There must be more.
And now he reads the Shangri-Ira again. Apparently he missed that. It is a lot of text on the card, so you can't really blame him for missing one sentence.
Yeah, he didn't look too happy now after reading it again.
That didn't work well for him. I think I'm even surprised that he shows the Shangri-Ira, because the Fenrir is a much bigger threat. Shangri-Ira with no follow-up on the field does not do that much.
But there is another trap coming.
Another ninjutsu card for you guys.
This is ninjutsu art of Mirage Transformation. And you can tribute one ninja monster, and there is no ninja monster, sadly. And then you could target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your field, and it would become a ninja. The problematic thing, though, is, wait, it did go back to the hand there. Where did the Mirage Transformation go? I clearly saw it.
Dancing Leaves has another effect. When this card leaves the field, send that monster to... You can target one ninjutsu or continue a spell trap in your spell trap zone, return it to the hand, but that is not a graveyard effect.
Okay. But I mean, the card clearly was face up there for a second.
Are we getting this card translated right now? That is a possibility.
I think so, yeah, absolutely think so. The judges are right now on it. Getting the card text ready. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. The judge had it in his hands, and that's why it wasn't on the field anymore. But now we got the translation out. We're all figuring it out. And Mirage Transformation for now shouldn't be that big of a threat because it can only be used when you have a ninja on the field. And so far, for now, there is no ninja. But honestly, imagine Fuad went after the Fenrir there. There's no more interruption on Flavio's side, and he actually gets a special summon out Hanzo. So in theory, he could just combo off from there.
Is there a possibility that Iron Digger makes the monster be a ninja monster so he can actually tribute the Shangri-Ira instead?
But the Mirage Transformation says tribute one ninja monster.
Yeah,
it doesn't say...
Iron Digger makes the other monster a ninja monster.
Yeah, but you can't just tribute monsters from your opponent.
That is...
because it doesn't say you can tribute opponent's monsters, so I don't think that's going to work. I mean, but the other card specifically stated that you could use your opponent's monsters.
Because
that was the cool thing about Dancing Leaves.
Field, right?
Yeah. Oh, but look, we are now special summoning out the Scarecrow Kashtira from the graveyard, so we do now have a ninja monster on the field, because this is considered to be a ninja. And we're also going to special summon back out our Hanzo that we banished. Or are we adding it back?
We are adding it back from Iron Digger, I think.
If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished ninja monsters, add it to your hand, or special summon it face down. So he has both options, and he didn't want to set it to the field or special summon it face down to the field, and rather decided to normal summon it here. And Hanzo is going to get him another ninjutsu art card. And I mean, those ninjutsu art cards are putting in work here for Fuad, so I do understand why he's doing it. I do get that.
So we are having the quick spell that we were talking about earlier. It is a notebook. Not a scroll, it is a notebook, the Ninjutsu Art Notebook of Mystery.
Oh, and this card is so powerful.
Super good when your opponent has monsters on board.
And I mean, there are a couple of monsters, as you can see. Three of them being booked, actually, at the moment by his Ninja and Book of Moon cards. And if your opponent controls a card, you can not only set a Ninja monster, but also a Ninjutsu Art spell and trap. So this is actually really, really good because it's just an instant +1. And of course, we saw that a lot of those cards generate extra advantage. So I didn't think I would say that this weekend, but it looks like Ninja is on its way to win a game here in our featured match, honestly.
I would love to see Ninjas top this event, but it will have to do some more to achieve that, because the monster it's going to special summon is going to be face down, and we know that there are I think there's only one monster that can activate its effect when it's face down, and that is Big Shield Gardener that we have seen before.
Absolutely, yeah. I think right now, Ninjas could be on its way to become like the Umi control of YCS Lyon. Like back in Utrecht days, Umi control really was the rogue deck that everyone was hyped about all of a sudden, and now this might be Ninjas for this event.
I really want to see a level 4 vanilla ninja on the field just attacking all the time.
That would be beautiful.
That was a nice throwback. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. So, a lot of stuff happening. The judges and the players clarifying that the game state is correct here. But
okay, so the monster could not be...
Ooh, okay, we're apparently repairing the game state right there.
Okay. If I knew a little more about ninja rulings, I am sure that I could explain what happened there.
Yeah, but apparently we were not able to special summon... Oh, maybe we were just not even able to activate the set card.
I mean, it's a continuous trap, right?
Yeah, like normally...
Pretty sure you can just activate them without using the effect.
Oh, but...
Oh.
Instead, we just go for another normal summon, and it is the Baku, the Beast Ninja. But Baku Beast Ninja is not the normal summon you want to see, because by nature, this guy can be special summoned out when it gets added to the hand. Therefore, it's not the normal summon of choice normally. But now he has to go for a normal summon with it. Ooh, and... Okay, I think we're just going to the translating part again. That's why the card is not longer on the field, but there it is again. Also, it's kind of unfortunate because there are also really strong ninjutsu art cards in the deck, and so far we haven't seen Fuad resolving Armor ninjutsu art of Alchemy, because we have seen some 2005 format duels over the weekend because we played that as a Kashtira tournament, and we saw people resolving Pot of Greed, and this card basically is Pot of Greed. As it says, if you control a ninjutsu art card, destroy as many other ninjutsu art cards you control as possible, then draw 2 cards.
And this is really good if you have used one of your continuous trap cards and the Iron Digger that really wants to be destroyed.
Yes, indeed. So that would be a pretty cool card to have right now. But now, okay, so we got to the point where we had to normal summon Baku to actually activate the effect of our continuous trap card. So now the Mirage Transformation was able to special summon out the Scareclaw Kashtira from our opponent, and we did resolve the trap card. The thing is, we really need to get that Iron Digger into the graveyard, because that is where it shines. So getting to Alchemy here would be absolutely amazing. So Flavio just checking his extra deck real quick. Checking whether there actually is any option versus Ninja. And I can tell you, as I have your list here as well, Flavio, there isn't really. There is nothing specifically versus that deck. So we are currently translating and reading Scareclaw Kashtira. I think we figured that out now. It's also fun when you are when you're reborning a card from your opponent and afterwards be like, what does that card actually do?
What did I just summon? Yeah. Imagine doing that with Ibli.
True. That would be pretty hilarious.
So I cannot special summon anymore. Or Ceruli.
That's quite unfortunate. But
so
yeah.
I think there might have been a defense position attack with Scareclaw Kashtira, but you can't beat over the Fenrir if it's in defense position because of the Raidsoft planet that Fuad also has to read now, and yes, it boosts up the Fenrir to the point where Scareclaw cannot destroy it by battle.
Okay, so we are just setting another back row and we are giving play back over to Flavio, who now will be able to just flip all of those monsters that are currently face down on his side of the field. And that's a huge fat. He has 3 monsters immediately, and we know those Kashtira monsters have high attack points, even higher ones when Pressured Planet Race-Off is also on the field. Therefore, this could be problematic here for Fuad if he didn't find another very good ninjutsu art card there maybe. It looks like that is just another one of the trap card we already saw resolving.
I mean, there is a
I think this is another Dancing Leaves.
Which is a really strong card.
In theory, yes, because you can summon out Geo. The problem is, Geo is only a one-off in the deck, and therefore you don't have a Geo to summon out anymore.
That is indeed true. So the Kashtira Fenrir is now summoned. I think this is before the standby phase, because I'm pretty sure that Flavio would use the Shangri-Ira in the standby phase on his own turn. And okay, so I think the Geo prevents both monsters from changing their battle position as well. So those two monsters, they are basically blocked zones at this point.
Is it going to be forever though? Let me check. Any opponent's monster... Yeah, I think that is actually something that applies to the monsters and is not related to Geo. So you might actually be right that those two monsters cannot ever be flipped face up again.
You would basically have to Zeus the field to use them as resources or get your zones cleared.
Yeah, so everything I said like 2 minutes ago when I was talking about, hey, you can just flip summon all of those guys, wasn't really true, because Geo still is applying, even though he's not on the field anymore. So that's pretty bad, though.
You
look,
can still
that
flip summon the monster that is in the zone under Shangri-Ira.
That's true, because that was only a Book of Moon effect. But yeah, look, Flavio, I think, is just asking that to the judges. Am I allowed to flip summon those guys back up again?
Nay.
And yeah, Fuad is pointing towards Geo. No, you will never ever be able to flip summon those guys back up again. Even in Game 2, there's no chance of getting those guys back.
That is true, you have to Zeus. In this situation, by the way, I think you have 100% Zeus. You know that your opponent is not going to do anything if you turn the Shangri-Ira into the attack position and then run into Scareclaw, or if you don't want to take the damage, you can just activate Shangri-Ira in standby phase and then put an Arise Heart over it and then attack over it and then go into Zeus.
Yeah, so we now tributed the opponent's Fenrir for the effect of our Dancing Leaves. And I mean, the Fenrir was a ninja monster now due to the effect of Iron Digger. Therefore, we could tribute it. And we are special summoning out Tobari, the Sky Ninja, with it. So, where does that bring us? Is Tobari somehow another interruption on our opponent's turn?
It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect the turn it was special summoned.
I mean, that's decent.
Yeah.
The problem, though, if he gets to summon out Fenrir, it can just be banished face down, though.
Yeah, but who plays Fenrir?
True, actually, he would have to have Fenrir in his Kashtira deck.
I mean, there's one in the grave, and you can just summon it out by using Birth. So
that would work. That would work.
Okay, there is a strategy to out the Tobari the Sky Ninja.
It's quite ironic, though, because Fuad somehow has basically locked two of the main deck monster zones, main monster zones from Flavio by just setting two monsters there that cannot ever be flipped face up again, which is usually what the Kashtira deck is doing. Usually Kashtira is going to lock your main monster zones, but Fuad and his ninja deck, in this case, locked more of his opponent's zones than the player that has Shangri-Ira face up on the field.
By the way, Tobari has an effect in the opponent's main or battle phase.
Ooh, let me know about it.
It can fusion summon.
Oh, we have another... Oh, of course, Tobari was the one that can quick effect fusion summon on our opponent's turn.
Things are heating up. I mean, they are heated as well all the time. Look at this board. But
yeah, we are learning more and more about it. Myson, the Battle Ninja, I think is what you most likely are going to go for, but it's not even the only option we have. I think Mason is the more popular option, but there also is Yagura Maru in there as well. And Yagura Maru, the Armor Ninja, also is kind of cool, because if this card is special summoned or flip face up, you can banish one other ninjutsu or ninja card from your hand, field or graveyard, and then you can target one card on the field and banish it.
Oh, so it's a target banished. That is really nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad, honestly. So,
and now a card is going to be popped.
Flavio is denying Fuad one of his main zones. Flavio being like, you can quick effect fusion summon on my turn? You're kidding. Okay, so but we are now step by step taking apart the board of Fuad. So one of his ninjutsu arts is gone now, and it is the ninjutsu art of Mirage Transformation.
And Scareclaw Kashtira goes back to Flavio's graveyard. Shangri-Ira is going to activate, and we are still in the standby phase. That's what I was going to ask earlier.
True.
But when did the zone block apply? When was there a card banished face down on the side of Fuad?
I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Sometimes when you are reading up 20 cards in a row, you are missing out on singular effects on the battlefield.
Yeah, but I mean, in fact, there's one zone locked.
Yeah,
that's what we know.
That's what we know.
There's Unicorn coming down now, special summoned by the effect of Shangri-Ira. And I was hoping for a Ninja comeback here, but I don't know, because even if we are using the quick fusion effect now, there is still the effect of Unicorn to be used later on. And now we are packing together our cards, and Flavio Palumbo and his Kashtira card battles through this long game number 1 and beats Fuad and his Ninja deck. Honestly, even though the deck did not win game 1, I'm in love with Ninjas now.
Yeah, Ninjas seem to be really consistent. I mean, okay, so saying consistent, we used Hanzo, search the card, and then set 3. But those trap cards are incredibly powerful.
Yes, they
still make you play the entire time. Just summoning out a Geo that flips 2 monsters face down immediately is massive.
It's actually
in
insane.
this format, crazy.
And now, looking at Flavio's side deck, of course he didn't bring any cards that are good versus Ninja, because why would you think about Ninja? The only card I can somewhat see is Enemy Controller going second here, because it's okay-ish, but it's also not really super strong. And the rest is not really strong, because do you want to activate Gravekeeper's Inscription versus Ninja? I don't think so, really. And yeah, go ahead.
Is okay versus Iron Digger.
It's okay versus Iron Digger, yes.
It does something. So if you have cards in the main deck like Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, you are more than happy to exchange those.
I see. But now looking at the side deck of Fuad, there is something that really caught my attention, honestly. Because there is, I mean, actually there's two things.
There's a lot that's catching attention there.
True.
There's a lot going on in the side deck.
You can pick one card that you want to talk about. And you can go first. Which card do you like there?
Of course, I want to talk about the card Ninjutsu Art of Super Transformation.
Obviously.
I have no idea what this card does.
So perfect that you picked it.
I will look it up for you as soon as we get into the match again. So, what's your card?
The card I was thinking about is Chaos Hunter.
Yeah.
Because Chaos Hunter, actually, when it gets to the field, is not allowing your opponent to banish cards. And we are playing versus Kashtira here. And the main purpose of the deck basically is to banish cards face down. And therefore that's quite interesting of a side deck choice. And I think this could come in here for sure.
Okay, so obviously you thought I was talking about another card because there is also Eater of Millions in the side deck. It is a card that I loved to play.
Same.
I have no idea what his plan is with Eater of Millions. It is a good card.
What's the matchup we're siding that for? Maybe Kashtira. Maybe we're about to see it. Who knows?
Maybe we are about to see this going second versus Kashtira, rather. I don't think that this is a card that you want to have on your first turn board.
Yeah.
But I think that we can just go into game 2
and
see
more Ninja gameplay.
What Fuad decided to side against Flavio Palumbo's Kashtira.
There we have them again, set up for game number 2. Fuad versus Flavio, probably going to be the same start than in game number 1, with Fuad starting off the action, but maybe this time it's going to be more than normal summon Hanzo.
Okay, so I'm showing you the Ninjutsu Art of Super Transformation. This card tributes a ninja monster from you, or sends one to the GUI.
Yeah.
And takes one monster from your opponent and does the same to it, and then you special summon out a dragon, dinosaur, or sea serpent monster.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Whose level is less than or equal to the combined original levels of the sent monsters.
Okay, cool. But the question I'm asking myself right now is it just going to be the same opening that we had in game number 1, as Fuad just normal summoned the Hanzo and is now searching out the dancing leaves again? Is it just going to be 3 cards to the back row one more time? Please no, Fuad. Oh, it's only 2 cards this time even?
Do we get the 3? Can we get a 3? Can we get the 3rd card set?
And it's a pass
less
from
of an
Fuad.
end board. No, Flavio loves to see this. When I play against decks like these, which I have no idea of what they are doing, I love to see them just not opening with big combos.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there's still the possibility of a Chaos Hunter in his hand. So as soon as that comes down, Flavio might still be in trouble. Oh, but there's Book of Eclipse as well in Flavio's hand, which is definitely not bad.
No, that would be a good answer to a Chaos Hunter as well as the planet Raids off, because then your monsters can just attack over it.
Honestly, I don't know why Book of Eclipse wasn't popular for such a long time, because in this tournament, it looks like, first of all, it looks like everybody is on it, and second of all, I really do understand and like it, because this card is just basically outing every end board. It's just getting, like, even versus tier limits, it's actually quite decent, even though you are not siding it specifically versus that, because you're just setting everything face down, meaning they are not allowed or not capable of actually activating Salik or stuff like that. Also, Scream cannot trigger anymore because there are just no tier limit cards left on the field.
That is true, and that is actually what makes it a bit better. So that is an upside to Dark Ruler no more.
Absolutely. So we used Race Off.
Chaos Hunter.
And indeed Chaos Hunter is coming down, discarding Monster Reborn for it. And that is going to be very, very good. Yeah, Chaos Hunter on the special summon of the Unicorn. But as we just talked about it, and as it's still in the card highlight, Book of Eclipse is in the hand of Flavio.
And he can still always use the effect of Kashtira Unicorn. So if you're not using Chaos Hunter in your opponent's first turn, there is actually a lot that your opponent can do. You can just go for a Theosis and then go into a rank 7.
Ooh, but look at that. We are now instantly activating the effect of Ninjutsu Art of Dancing Leaves. But I think Fuad is trying to do the same thing that he did earlier on. He just wants to book his opponent's monsters. But this time, there's only one monster on the side of Flavio.
Yeah,
so if he
is a bit early,
summons out the Geo, I would also think that it's a little bit early there for sure.
I think you are more than happy to wait for the Kashtira Theosis to activate. We are going to see what is going to happen next. You can maybe just activate the Ninjutsu Art of Dancing Leaf.
That might be the case.
Opening himself up to a Ghost Ogre.
Okay, I don't think this card is too popular this weekend, so he does not have to be afraid of it. So Flavio thinking...
It's good against Birth.
I mean, yes, it is. For sure, for sure. So Fuad again, just having that one Hanzo. And honestly, I was super surprised by how far that one Hanzo actually got him in the last game. Because I was like, okay, that is really not what the deck is supposed to do. But still, it took him for quite a long ride in game number 1. And maybe it's going to be the same thing here. And he's going to be able to stand up against the Kashtira cards of Flavio for quite a long time.
Yes, Kashtira piloted by such a good and accomplished player. Flavio Palumbo has been a constant guest on these feature matches.
He is indeed. Powerhouse from Italy. Definitely not a stranger here to our competition.
Okay, Book of Eclipse is activated, and this also shuts down Ninjutsu Art of Dancing Leaves.
That is indeed true.
If you chain it to Eclipse now, then the monster will immediately be booked on summon, so it cannot activate the summon effect.
Ah, the thing though is, do you know what I like? The good old Dancing Leaves can also tribute opponent's face-down monster, and Book of Eclipse is actually setting your own monster's face down as well. So Flavio is robbing him off of the Hanzo, but he can actually tribute the opponent's monster instead.
That is true, and this one...
Yeah, and look, Fuad is showcasing it. Yeah, you gotta set this monster as well. Oh, but we also tributed already. I see, we're already resolving that. But that means we just don't go into Geo here. But that probably means we're going into Tobari and we have a fusion summon ready, right? I think that could be the case.
I think we need another... Oh, we have the monster that we were talking about earlier.
Yes, we haven't seen this one yet. It is the one-off in the deck, the Yellow Dragon Ninja, which...
The ninja monster with the highest attack stat in the game.
Yes, we just found that out in our quiz. Nobody knew, but now we are aware and we actually are seeing it here in our featured match area, crazily enough. The card from Shadows of Valhalla. And I don't know why, but it's a dinosaur. For some reason, the Yellow Dragon Ninja is a dinosaur.
Oh, this is why you can special summon it out of the super transformation.
Yeah, for sure. So Book of Eclipse did resolve. So that's actually, it's interesting, right? He activated the effect of Dancing Leaves, and then Book of Eclipse was chained to that.
I thought that the monster summoned off of Dancing Leaves would be flipped face down as well.
I mean, if it was Chain Link 1, then no. So, like, Book of Eclipse must have been Chain Link 2 there.
Right, right.
So now we are using Kashtira Birth to bring out our Fenrir. And of course, Fenrir now a lot more of a threat because it will be able to resolve its banish face down effect when that Chaos Hunter is no longer face up on the field.
And now you can search for so many good cards. Kashtira Birth, of course, amazing here to just normal summon this one. You can special summon the Riser now, and now we have loads of plays.
Yep, a couple of options available to Flavio.
No reason to banish Big Bang, no reason to banish Theosis. You can just go for the Unicorn banish, special summon it out with Birth, and then get your Theosis off of that, because the first one obviously didn't use the effect. And now we are seeing another card.
the third ninjutsu art card. He plays 3 traps, and that is the third one, and it's ninjutsu art of duplication. And you can activate this card by tributing 1 ninja monster, special summon any number of ninja monsters from your deck in face-up attack position and or face-down defense position with combined levels of that monster. So probably he just went for the Yellow Dragon Ninja because it has a lot of levels, and therefore you can now special summon out a bunch of monsters from your deck, but he just goes for Geo instead. We are just booking one more time here. Look, he summons out Rysart.
Oh, chained to the effect of Rysart.
This is huge.
It is. But there's still plays. There's still the same play as before. Banish the Unicorn. Add summon it with Birth. Add Theosis. Go for a rank 7 play.
Probably,
Oh no, he can't ban. Oh no, the banishing is not the effect of the special summon. I keep forgetting that. You activate the effect when Rysart is on the
Flavio
field.
sets a card and passes it over. Fuad is back in this game. He flips the Chaos Hunter back face up and end face, draws a card for it.
Oh, he draws another one because Unicorn has to be flipped up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Unicorn has to be flipped face up there too.
Oh, he forgot to draw, right?
He needs to draw 2 there. So we gotta, for sure, we also are flipping our monsters face up as well. So definitely, I mean, the Unicorn is still not even face up on the field. Shall I just real quick inform them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so keep attention.
Okay, so Basti is just going to run over, drop his microphone in the meantime, and inform the judges. So we can handle this pretty easily, because this could be a crucial mistake in the game if someone does not draw cards when he should be. So we are going to solve this issue. The judges are informed, and we are going to see if the Unicorn is flipped face up or if we have been talking nonsense. But I think that every monster on the field.
Let's double check.
Change as many of his.
Oh, your opponent controls. No, no, no. It's only the opponent controls. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, so false alert. This is, let's just not talk about this anymore. So, okay, nothing happened.
Yeah, but I mean, something is happening, and it is Fuad actually getting back into this game. He's moving that good old Geo into attack position, and Geo even is a beatstick with 2003 attack points. And this is going really well all of a sudden for Fuad. I did once more not see that coming, but Ninjas are getting back into this. I love it.
Geo is a powerful card on the field, booking 2 monsters again. What a powerhouse. So we are going to see Iron Digger on the field as well, a really strong card. We're going to see what it does. So far, it only gives 1 monster 500 extra attack points.
Which is not the worst, to be honest.
Also not the best.
Oh, what's happening now? We are linking away our Chaos Hunter.
Okay.
I thought Chaos Hunter is like our main win con from now on, because this is just denying the Kashtira player from actually resolving effects. But we are fusion summoning into Maizen, and Maizen, of course, needs 2 ninja monsters with different types. The thing is, when you equip the Iron Digger to your own Chaos Hunter, of course it's a ninja monster as well, so we can go into Maizen. And now let me tell you something, Maizen can attack directly.
That is, of course, the most important part. But I think what's also helpful is that Iron Digger is going to leave the field while it was equipped to a monster. So it's gonna be destroyed, sent to the graveyard, and it is going to be able to special summon out the Geo or the Yellow Dragon again.
No, still I believe we can only special summon back from the banish pile, and therefore it would be the Hanzo.
Perfect.
But for the first time, actually, we would actually be special summoning Hanzo. So far he has only been able to normal summon him, but It looks like we could now finally special summon him. Oh no, wait. We could special summon it face down, or we could add it to the hand. So we added to the hand and normal summon it one more time. Like, we were totally wrong. We thought Fuad wants to special summon it, but he's just totally fine with normal summoning Hanzo over and over again.
Yeah. And he is searching for the Notebook, a card that is really powerful, immediately going for a +1, setting a Ninjutsu Art spell or trap card and a monster from the deck.
That's how we do it here. So we are once again reading the Notebook, translating it, but we told you earlier that it's like one of the best cards of the deck, because if your opponent controls a card, you can not only set a ninja, but you can also set a Ninjutsu Art card from your deck.
Also, Ninjutsu Art Notebook of Mystery can work as a flip face down effect. When it gets destroyed while being set on the field. However, I think that you much rather want to activate the effect and not flip one of your monsters right now face down.
So we're checking on the graveyard. But it's so crazy to see that really this ninja deck is capable of completely booking the entire field of his opponent, and therefore making Flavio being left with 0 plays. He couldn't do anything anymore.
I mean, this is great. This is what the deck needs to do in this format. People are playing Book of Eclipse and Book of Lunar Eclipse just to target Kashtira, and because it's also good versus Tier Elements.
And Ninja is just doing it in engine, and look, he just summoned back the Geo there. Geo is back on the field, even though for now he is set face down, and now we are also getting the field spell. It looks like Fuad is just showing off because he's showing us all the cards, and this is Tenchi Kaimai. And you might be wondering, how can he search or set Tenchi Kaimai? Of course, the first sentence of the card explains it. This card is always treated as a Ninjutsu Art card.
This is absolutely crazy. I love this ninja deck. Tenchi Kaimai is activated. Not going to search for a ninja monster. One of the few field spell cards that does not do that.
And the crazy thing is, now he can attack directly with Maizen. Maizen inflicts battle damage, and he can just pop a card with Tenchi Kaimai. The combo is going off. Fuad, what are you doing to us here with your ninja deck? I love it.
So we are all
there's dimensional barrier all of a sudden.
Are negated. The effect of the fusion monster on the field until the end of this turn.
So he cannot even attack directly anymore.
No. But I mean, he got rid of a card.
But
it basically is like he would have destroyed the barrier.
True, just without the damage, sadly. But we are still going to... I
also like the summon mechanic of Maizen, because there was a dimensional barrier set the entire time. He never flipped it, and all of a sudden, Maizen.
True, because it is one of those decks that can contact fuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Flavio didn't really see that coming, to be honest. Yeah. But on the other hand, he must have somehow saw it coming, because he put in those dimensional barriers from his side deck. And now there comes Mitsu. Mitsu is coming to the field as well. Let's maybe also quickly highlight the Mitsu there.
Sorry, that is not
yeah, it's not in our
moment.
database, sadly. But Mitsu also coming there.
Let me tell you guys what Mitsu does. If you control a ninja card or a face-down defense position monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect. You can target one face-down defense position monster you control, change it to face-up defense position, and if you do, change this card to face-down position. Then, if the targeted monster was a ninja monster, except Mitsu, the insect ninja, negate that opponent's activated effect. You can only use each of Mitsu, the insect ninja's effect once per turn.
Fair enough. So we are starting things off by just using the art ninjutsu of Dancing Leaves there again. And before we even are getting to the main phase, Fuad says, yeah, I want to tribute your set, Rysart, to use the effect to special summon out Tobari from the deck to have another fusion, a quick fusion effect on our opponent's turn. So not only Maizen right now, also the possibility to get out another fusion monster. And we talked about it earlier, that is probably most likely going to be the Yagu Ramaru. And those two monsters are set for forever. We talked about that earlier. Those monsters were, weren't they booked? Weren't they booked by a good old friend, Gio?
It is interesting if they can be flipped up again. I think Flavio is just telling his opponent, you cannot flip this one up. I thought it was locked by Gio. Also, it is really interesting that Meisen activated its effect in response to Dimensional Barrier, because every time your opponent activates a card, you can special summon out a ninja monster.
Yeah, true. That's actually funny. But it looks like we are, we are indeed responding immediately with the quick fusion effect of Tobari to bring out the Yaguramaru I was just talking about. And Yaguramaru, of course, on special summon, as we talked about it earlier, is going to be able to banish one card on the field.
Exactly, also banishing a ninja card. Oh, and Flavio Palumbo scoops to Fuad's ninjas.
I'm so excited. For real, Ninjas taking Game 2 here in 2023 in the Round 6 featured match of YCS Lyon. I am so in love with the deck. I want to play Ninjas for the rest of my life, honestly.
Nobody is stopping you, Sebastian. Nobody is stopping you, and I will remind you the next time you will enter a tournament.
I will ask Fuad to be my grandmaster, and he shall teach me all the ninja combos, because this guy apparently knows how the ninja stuff is going. But now we are changing the setup a little bit.
He didn't even have combo, by the way. He just opened with Hanzo and 2-set, and he
didn't look
beat
that crazy.
Kashtira, the new deck that is the hottest talk in town.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have to change the setup a little bit now, because both games, 1 and 2, have been started by our ninja player Fuad. And both times he actually had viable traps in his back row, which were able to do stuff on his opponent's turn.
Yeah.
And now he's going second.
So it's an issue.
Yeah, it's probably going to be an issue. It's for sure going to be a lot harder, that's for sure.
However, he has one more card. He has a draw phase now that fetches him one more card.
Okay, simple Yu-Gi-Oh!
Maybe this time he will have access to Tobari in hand that can special summon out Hanzo and then play the standard 2-card combo of the deck.
Also, there's evenly matched in his side deck.
Yes.
There's still going to be Chaos Hunter now in the main deck, but the guys are ready. We are ready as well. So let's get game number 3 here of our round 6 featured match started. Let's see what ninjas are about to do.
I love this. I love everything about this. This is, I feel like a child at Christmas.
Same. I mean, this is what makes this commentator job so entertaining and fun, right? Just being able to somehow see that Ninja is a viable deck that is really in top competition right now.
You said it earlier, best seats in the house.
Oh, and there is a Chaos Hunter
immediately. Discarding the Tenchi.
This is what Fuad needed. He immediately has an answer. With only 5 minutes left on the clock, he potentially denies the entire turn of Flavio right there.
So there is a play where he goes for Theosis or a Birth if he already has one. No, adds the Theosis to hand.
Yeah.
Can special summon out Fenrir, but Fenrir with Chaos Hunter on the field is also not an interaction.
Oh, but we are normal summoning the Fenrir with the Kashtira Birth.
So we also have Theosis.
Yeah, but the thing is, of course, Theosis already has a really good effect on field, being able to special summon out a Kashtira monster. But you're not going to get off the graveyard effect, or like the effect when it is banished, so therefore it's only half as good.
Scareclaw Kashtira was searched, can't even be summoned.
Yeah, true. There comes Rysart now.
This one can be summoned, however, I think you cannot use the effect, so it's just a level 4 monster. And I don't think that's too good.
Yeah, it's only another body. Maybe Flavio really is trying to defend himself here.
Oh, I see what he's going to do.
Maybe we go for Big Eye?
I think he's going for either Big Eye or Shangri-Ira. No.
It is actually Big Eye.
This makes sense. Going for the Big Eye because Chaos Hunter just prevents your opponent from going into plays. Birth is on the field, can just at any point of the game get back the Kashtira Fenrir, and now even the Rysart can be activated soon. Banish the Kashtira Big Bang and then special summon a monster that is attached to the Big Eye. Because I think that Big Bang is not limited to Kashtira Exceeds monsters.
I mean, he can also just banish the Theosis that was just activated. So let's see which route he's going. Because
that one would be banished by Kashtira Scareclaw.
Oh yeah, you're right. Absolutely. So...
No, that target one Kashtira Exceeds monster. Okay, I take that.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't work, but that Big Eye We saw that earlier also in the Kashtira mirror match being really crucial. But this situation right here also showing that Big Eye definitely is a staple now in the Kashtira extra deck.
So Big Bang still banished. It's a card you don't want to draw, and you can use it as a resource if you are going to summon a Rise Heart this turn. Also, I need to see Chaos Hunter.
Yeah, is it level 7, right? That's the same thing that I just saw. Is it actually level 7?
It is.
It really is level 7. That can't be real. That can actually not be real. The thing is, maybe he even wants to keep it, because on the other hand, that denies your own Rise Heart, right? Because now with Chaos Hunter and a Rise Heart on the field,
you are banishing.
Okay.
A Rise Heart with a Rise Heart's effect, with the detach effect.
Yeah.
But the other one, I think,
yeah,
it gets blocked. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a Rise Heart says all cards are being banished, but Chaos Hunter says no cards are being banished, and therefore, I think the Chaos Hunter in that case is the stronger part. And with only a little more than 2 minutes left on the clock, the turn is going to go over to Fuad. And I mean, we know that Fuad has a couple of shenanigans in his deck. For example, the fusion monster Maizen. And if Maizen somehow gets to attack directly, that could also be a factor here in this match.
So I have just read that cards are normally banished by a Rise Heart effect.
Ooh, interesting.
So it seems to not count as being banished by the opponent.
All right, all right. Fair enough, fair enough. So what is Fuad now able to do? He
that's a good start.
Starts it off with one of the most powerful spells he has in his deck. That is the Notebook once more. He's playing it as a free of course, why wouldn't you? The Notebook of Mystery.
Notebook of Mystery, Shotgun. There are 2 cards in the back row for Flavio, and I don't really see a way for Flavio to deal damage here. So maybe we can see a big monster being summoned this turn just to attack over the Chaos Hunter.
Yeah, or maybe just Maizen to attack directly. That was what I was thinking about, because
but there will be Dimensional Barrier. I'm pretty sure about that.
That could very well be Dimensional Barrier for sure.
Oh, we are seeing Kagero being set. Kagero, the Cannon Ninja, which is a card that is usually part of the standard combo.
Yeah, indeed. So, but he's searching it out, right? Yeah, he is searching it out indeed. We are, of course, banishing the Ninjutsu Art Notebook there.
By the way, we were talking about evenly matched earlier. This is a card that is also not prevented by Chaos Hunter, because you make your opponent banish the cards. So in that case, Flavio would be the one banishing the cards.
That is indeed true. So Flavio right now thinking whether he maybe wants to... Oh no, he's not thinking. He has to actually, of course, attach the material with a Rise Heart.
And that is one of the, I want to say, flaws of the deck, because you are opening yourself up to triple tactic cards.
Absolutely, because this is not an option. Flavio always has to use that effect. It's a non-optional effect. So, we are, of course, activating Tenchi Kamai again.
Yeah, it was a ninja card in the grave, and now Tobari is
Tobari is coming back out.
So are we going to see a Dimensional Barrier? Okay, we are seeing a Rise Heart that is going to detach 3 cards that are immediately banished. And one of those is Kashtira Theosis, being able to add back the Scareclaw, Kashtira, and the Rise Heart.
So, but the main part here is there was just the announcement of timeout.
Wow.
And therefore, we are currently on 8,000 life points on both sides. Is there a way for Fuad to somehow do some damage here and maybe even take it down with the ninja strategy?
But be careful. If you attack into a monster that has a higher defense stat, then your monster has attack points.
I'm pretty certain we're not going to have a battle phase this match anymore. Oh, he's setting a back row, but yeah, that probably just means we're ending our main phase.
And this seems to be a draw. Flavio versus Fuad seems to end in a draw. We are talking about it.
Yeah, but I mean, there was the announcement of timeout, which is something you cannot really be mistaking about, because here in our featured match, we even have a specific judge putting down that timeout thingy. So there cannot even be a discussion on when it was or something. It definitely was right there. So I'm pretty sure we are just in timeout. We are in the main phase of Fuad, and therefore this should just end up in a draw.
we are just discussing here right now. It is okay. We are just clearing up the things and waiting for the judges to confirm that this is in fact a timeout-based draw.
Absolutely.
Basti, what do you think about ninjas right now?
As I told you, I will now, from now on, be I will take Fuad as my grandmaster and teacher, and I will probably go into some dojo and learn all the ninja stuff, right? That's going to be my main passion for the rest of my life, I think.
So, it's Ninja Grandmaster Fuad.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
I mean, how could you not call him the Ninja Grandmaster?
I did never say that he wasn't.
Like, I mean,
Never.
Did you specifically wake up today and thought about ninjas being part of our coverage today? Be honest.
I always think about ninjas, Basti. No, of course I did not. This is a major upset, and I am all here for it. So
I love it.
I want to tell you guys a little bit more about the standard combo that we did not get to see.
True.
Let me try.
Exactly, yeah. Now the ninja expert Leo is going to show off his knowledge about ninja combos. So be aware.
You have the Tobari. It is a 2-card combo. You have the Tobari.
Which you call Tobaru for most
Tobaro?
No, it's Tobari.
It's
but you called it.
It's Tobari.
It's Tobari.
We have Tobari. And we have the Hanzo. So you discard the Tobari to special summon out Hanzo from your hand. And then Hanzo gets to add a ninja card.
Yeah.
So Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo adds the Kagero. This is the one that ends with O. Kagero from your deck. And then you can normal summon out this one. This one will then special summon the Tobari.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then I...
Okay, so yeah, we made 3 cards out of 2, so that's already a pretty good start.
Yes, that is a good start. I agree. So, not trying to read anything here right now. Basti, why don't you just take over for a second?
No, I think the main combo that it's trying to pull off definitely is not something comparable to a big combo deck, for example, such as the Mikanko Libromancer deck we saw earlier on. But it's more of a control combo. You summon out like 2 to 3 monsters which are some kind of interaction, but you still are underlining it with 2 to 3 back rows, which are also interactions. And that's what I love about decks. That's, for example, something I always loved about Virtual World as a deck. You have monsters as interruptions, you have spells and traps as interruptions as well, and therefore it's just a good mixture, which just cannot be outed that easily, because Dark Ruler alone is not going to solve it, Feather Duster or Lightning Storm alone are also not going to solve it, and therefore you are in somewhat of a struggle.
Shenshin, Ultimaya, Zolkin with Crystal Ring Synchro Dragon and Chuche was a good time.
It was, but now it's ninja time. I'm sorry.
It is ninja time
From
right
now
now
on, every single time, there's going to be quick questions or casters interviews, and somebody asks me about my favorite deck, it has to be ninjas from now on.
Okay,
I'm forced into this.
Again, I will remind you, it is going to happen. So if you say anything else like Sky Strikers or something, you are in fact a liar. So
Nah. I'm fusion summoning Meisen all day now. It's ninjas from day one.
I will probably keep you guys updated in the next tournament. If we are going to cast that one, then I will remind you how often Basti will have played.
Yeah, I will play ninja.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to play ninja. I mean, now with Photon Hypernova just being out, I can just get my ninja cards because they are freshly released, so I can get them packed fresh, maybe even this weekend. I might just get them later on. I'm just going to open Photon Hypernova's boosters until I have all my ninja cards that I need for the deck.
So, quick quiz.
Oh, okay, I'm up for a quiz. I'm usually bad at quiz. Okay.
No looking?
Yeah.
What does the ninjutsu art of dancing leaves do?
Oh, that's a good question, but I know it. You can tribute a ninja monster. It's a continuous trap. You can tribute a ninja monster or a face-down monster your opponent controls and just special summon out a ninja monster. And you usually are going to... Yeah, I mean, and when it leaves the field... when the trap leaves the field, the monster also has to leave.
And?
No, I'm not saying anymore. That's enough for me.
This card also bounces back a ninjutsu art card that you control to your hand.
But only...
I don't see the application just yet.
But only when it goes to the graveyard or also on the field?
Also on the field.
Oh, interesting.
If I am not mistaken. Okay, now you ask me something. Don't pick a hard one.
What is your favorite ninja card then?
Okay, so obviously it has to be Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo. It is
because
the
it's the
easiest one.
Right? Yeah.
It is the OG one. I think it even had a tin.
Yeah. Oh, true. Back in the day, the Hanzo tin was really nice.
Yeah.
And also, it's the only card in this deck but has an ultimate rare printing. And of course, we love some ultimate rares.
That is true. Ultimate rares are neat.
Beautiful, absolutely
also,
beautiful.
you can search basically any card in the deck with it. You just have to find the right way to special summon it. Or normal summon it if you want the spell or trap card.
Yeah, but the problem is, I'm just anticipating on how Ninja is going to be the next meta deck now that everyone knows about it.
Yeah, sure.
Like, what are people going to side deck against Ninja now specifically? Because this is just the next big thing, very obviously. What is there to stop it?
First card that comes to my mind, because you can obviously not always shotgun the dimensional barrier. Non-fusion area. Just right from the get-go, you cannot fusion summon. Never again.
Okay, but I think... Did we even fusion summon in game 1?
But he lost game 1.
I will take that point. I think I have to take that point for sure.
Okay, so what can you side against Ninja? One card that is absolutely massive is evenly matched.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about board breakers. Probably board breakers are going to be a problem for me in the future.
That is true. Harpy's Feather Duster.
Yeah.
Crazy. Twin Twisters. Also really
not that good for us either.
Lava Golem. Because you want to end up on your Link monster and your Fusion monster, and I promise you guys we are going to figure out how to do it.
But no, I just usually want to finish on Hanzo normal summon a couple of back rows, because that's what my Grandmaster taught me.
Yeah, that is true.
In the featured match.
So Kaijus.
Kaijus are okay as well.
It's tricky.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tricky.
I think it's fine.
So...
And yeah, you guys are let me tell you something, because you guys are probably wondering why are those two guys still talking and talking and talking, and why is there no winners interview yet? As you can see also on the screen, right now there is the head judge over at the table because there is an appeal situation. I think we have explained it multiple times before, but if you have never been to a big Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, there is usually at that kind of a YC as we're in right here, right now, multiple head judges at the tournament. So whenever you are given a ruling by a judge, a floor judge, or our featured match judge, you're always able to appeal that ruling. So when you think, let me just double check the decision by the judge because I'm not 100% sure whether that's correct or not, you always have a chance to double check and get that head judge involved. And that's a good right, and therefore that's just what's happening right now.
Yeah, most of the time our judges are correct, let me tell you.
For
we
sure.
have both judged.
Indeed,
that weirdly sounded like a brag.
I mean, it is kind of a brag. I'm proud of that I was a judge before, for sure. I mean
that judges are mostly right. We were judges, that part. But yeah, I think I was mostly correct with my decisions as well. I mean, I have not judged as many tournaments as you have.
True, but I mean, it doesn't, like, of course, at the end of the day, it matters whether you make correct decisions.
Yeah.
But the main point is that you are supporting the community. You are basically the reason this tournament is able to run. Because without the almost 100 judges we have here for this event, or it might even be a little bit over 100, without them, there would be no tournament.
They are putting a lot of energy in here, so be nice to your judges. They are doing great work here, and we just basically love them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a very, very important part of the tournament, and you could run the tournament without us, to be honest, because we are just talking about what's happening here. But without the judges, it would almost be impossible.
You couldn't run the stream without us.
That's true, yeah. You guys wouldn't know about what's happening here at home.
So we are having a decision.
Oh, that's good. What is it?
I don't know.
Okay, it's just the fact that
the
we have a
players have
decision.
packed up, so we will be informed in, I think, a minute. And it was a second. It was not a minute. It was a second. We have a draw.
Okay. All right. So because it is a draw, there is not going to be a winner's interview because there is no clear winner.
And no drawers interview.
Exactly. And therefore, we have talked enough about the Ninja deck. It is still in the competition with now being 4-1-1 in the tournament. So it definitely is very well capable of topping the event. And I'm praying for this to become reality.
Basti, he got it.
I'm pretty sure he got it. And yeah, as I said, I will make Fuad my Grandmaster from now on, and I will become a very, very good Ninja player from now on. I hope you guys enjoyed the Ninja featured match we had here in round number 6. See you very soon again for more live coverage of YCS Lyon.
Attention Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists! Available for pre-order now, the Pot Collection. The Pot Collection is a very special made-to-order collection of figures that fit in the palm of your hand. Be sure to get yours now at the link below.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Photon Hypernova, Chaos Monsters, Kashtira, Gold Pride. More cards for Fallen of Albaz and Dogmatica, plus many more, with brand new Photon and Galaxy cards to make your deck out of this world. 100 cards in all. Photon Hypernova. 9 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Attention Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists! Available for pre-order now, the Pot Collection. The Pot Collection is a very special made-to-order collection of figures that fit in the palm of your hand. Be sure to get yours now at the link below.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel GX Midterm Paradox. Gather your friends, then clean their clocks. With 4 new decks, all in one box. Prove you're clever, like a fox. With Speed Duel GX Midterm Paradox. Over 100 cards per box. Each box sold separately.
Welcome back. We are here with the final round of our Commentator Time Wizard March 05 tournament playoff. So we've seen the last couple of rounds. We now have Alberto versus Marcello here for the final. So it's going to be an Italian commentator off right here. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into this final round. Gentlemen, let's do a high roll to see which one of you is going to be going first. Marcello's going to roll first. Okay, that's Snake Eyes, a 2. Okay, right, and let's see what Alberto gets here. You need more than a 2. That is more than a 2. Wait. Okay, that's way more than 2. Are you going to go first? You're going to go first? Alberto's going to go first. I'm going to hand you over to the German commentator team who are going to be tackling all of the commentary for this match. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ed. So we both lost in our top 4 match versus the Italians, but now we're here to commentate on this final. So you could ask,
much cooler.
who are the real winners here, right?
I think that we are, even though we are absolutely not.
Yeah, but now we can give our expertise. After being defeated by those, we can give our expertise on their place now. So that will be really funny.
I have learned a lot.
Absolutely.
I have learned a lot.
Alberto has also taught me quite a bit, so I want to see my master now in action once again for this final. So let's go over to the table and watch that final here. And there we go, Alberto winning the Dyrel as we saw.
And Alberto again opening with the Pot of Greed in hand and the Upstart and Thunder Dragon. So going for this immediate +1 already.
That's a good start. Maybe our Pot of Greed also draws us into Graceful Charity. That would be quite nice. I think you would like that.
That is indeed true. Even though you have multiple other purposes for these Thunder Dragons, you can also discard them with Raigeki Break and Pot of Greed is 7. Marcello is absolutely losing it already.
He's molding already. He's applauding his colleague. And Alberto is having a straight face. He wants to win this now. After losing all those quizzes at those last YCSs, he now finally wants to win one here. And he's resolving Upstart Goblin as well. I think Upstart Goblin back in the day actually wasn't even that popular as a card, but people later on realized that, yeah, that card actually makes you only play 39 cards in your main deck, so it's actually quite good.
Yeah, also players have started to pick up the Jar of Greed.
Yeah, true. That's also kind of a new thing. Both of them are actually playing it, if I saw it correctly.
I mean, the thing is that in Goat format, in Time Wizard 05 format, there's...
Hey guys, welcome back here to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series live in Lyon. So we're now into round 7, and in front of me I have Connor Kelly and Sonny Candeloro who are ready to kick straight into this match. You guys have waited long enough. Let's get straight into it. Guys, we're going to do a high roll to see which one of you is going to be going first. So Sonny, why don't you give those a roll? And we will see. That's a 12. That's going to be hard to beat there for Connor. Okay, that's an 8. So Sonny, would you like to go first? Sonny's going to go first. Okay, well, I'm going to hand you over to our very capable hands of Marcello and Alberto over in our commentators' table. Guys, take it away.
Hi everyone, welcome to round 7 of YCS Lyon 2023. What a blast it has been already, and as Ed mentioned, this one will be a great duel nonetheless. Both, I have to say, kind of known players in their own communities. Sonny from Italy, again, as mentioned, really known in the Italian scene, has a few tops and has been pretty successful, we can say, but one of the first, if not his first future match ever. So his opponent, again, nonetheless, from the UK, also a known player. So I think this one will be a good future match, but it's not a surprise because both of these guys are undefeated on a 6-0 record, which is quite impressive, I gotta say.
Yeah, after this long day, honestly.
Yeah, they are half the way there, we can say. So 12 rounds of Swiss, they are undefeated, and we are reaching the second half of the Swiss portion. So they still need a few more wins to guarantee that top 64 spot. But to do it here, as mentioned, more and moreover, Sonny is playing a deck we have not seen too much of yet, but it's the one and main attraction coming from Photon Hypernova, which is pure Kashtira.
My pick,
Your
maybe.
pick.
It's going well.
Poor Sonny.
For Sonny. No, but I think Sonny is playing a very good list. I really like that he's main decking Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea.
Yeah,
One
I'm a
of
fan.
the first players I think we have seen with that card in the main deck.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the card, and honestly, we will be seeing in action, hopefully, because he's up against Connor, who is playing Tier Elements.
Tier element, yeah.
So, quite a few, you know, spicy cards in Connor's deck.
Yeah, I gotta say one among all of them is the main deck copies of Nibiru,
Yeah.
which will be devastating for Sonny,
Yeah.
because that's one of the main cards that you side against Kashtira. He decided to main deck it, most likely to catch people off guard.
Yeah.
It is working out for him. Let's see if Sonny falls under this trap, as he is the one that won the die roll with 2 6s. You can't get much better than that. So our players are ready. Let's find out who will be the winner of game 1. And here they are. Of course, they don't necessarily know their opponent decks, but as we have seen plenty of times already, going first, Kashtira has so many options. Here he starts things off with Ferrir, which isn't necessarily the best, but you'll take it. And let's see if there is a response. What you can do, of course, is get the level 4 Rice Art from the deck. Here we get to the Unicorn, actually. So he might already have access to one of his copies, and he does. So great start here with the birth from Sonny. By doing this, he can normal summon without tributing, and now he will be able to access his combo, as we have seen plenty of times. And we will see even more of it, I'm sure, once we get to the latest rounds. So,
And this is a very good start indeed, because basically if you get to see both a piece and the birth as well, you get to see the Shangri-La coming soon, and here it is.
yeah, here it is, even the Rice Art on top of it. His opponent is might asking for translations, I feel like. But as you can see here, it has been special summoned. Great addition, and what can you say about Shangri-La? Such a great card. It is one of the reasons why Pendulum has been falling off in popularity, because it locks zones, and as you can see on our beautiful playmat, there are Pendulum zones.
Yeah.
So if you lock one of them, the Pendulum deck has an impossible time almost with playing out his game. So this is a very unique card. We haven't seen much of this kind of mechanics, I think, ever since Ojamas, I want to say, or something along those lines. And it is definitely cool to see something like this in application in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I think the interaction that the deck has is very particular, honestly, and I really like the fact that you get to see a lot of different exquisite monsters in this deck that are really powerful, especially the number 89 Diablosis.
Yeah, and now we get to see the typical opening with the Big Bang being banished. But the Avnis has been activated by Connor. Let's see if these mills will be good. The instant fusion, definitely not what you want to see, but there is another Avnis, I believe. So, and here, similarly to how Tearlament interacts with their opponent decks, Kashtira is really good at disrupting it, and of course it's always better to banish cards rather than milling them. And as you can see here, the zones has been blocked by Sonny. And yeah, this is Connor with finally able to access a play.
Yeah.
Let's see what his choice will be, because now there is Ferrir as well. This is definitely an issue we have seen, as Ferrir was the most popular card, we could say, in the past for the Kashtira before the other cards were released. That is still very annoying to deal with it, as he can banish face down. It's gonna activate in a new chain, so at least for now he is safe, but I'm pretty sure Sonny will think about his options here.
Especially because I'm checking Connor's extra deck and he's only playing one Kid Kalos. So in case Fenrir will be used and then we'll go rid of the Kid Kalos, Connor won't have any other copy left in his deck.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there are a few cards in the deck which allows you to take a look at your opponents and then banish a card. But in this case, duelists are trying to find a solution by playing multiple copies. Instead, it is his opponent who only runs one copy, so this is the last time we are seeing Kid Kalos for this duel at least.
Yeah.
So, as you can see here, Connor still had quite a few resources. He was able to discard a Saliek to special summon the Rhino, and this way he's able to add one of the other addition to the deck, which is the Kashtira tier element, and then send the Shirin. So definitely still in this game. He's probably gonna try and go for a Kaleido Art,
Yeah,
I wanna say.
I think so.
Yeah, that's the goal right here.
And indeed, now he goes for the Shireen in the graveyard and... okay, just goes for Shu, I guess.
Yeah, he quickly decides to go for Chu instead and will go for a Mad Dragon right away. Probably his goal is to set up in a way where you can access the Zeus next turn, which can be really annoying for Sonny's deck. But this seems like the Italian can find a way to continue his combo.
Yeah, because usually the Mad Dragon is the one you really want to banish with the Diablosis when you look up at your opponent extra deck in order just to prevent him for the Zeus play.
And yeah, here we see one of the best cards, the emergency teleport pretty much of this deck, which allows you to just summon another Kashtira from the deck. So you can see why this deck is a thing.
Yeah.
It is definitely very consistent, and it's still able to play as going first and going second. Also, it can push, especially against unknown matchups. And now we see a free material XYZ summon, definitely something that doesn't come up too often, but it will be the Arise Heart, which, by the way, it's collectible in our playoff area, because it's a giant card for the weekend, so make sure to just grind your points at the public events playoff and try to win it, because it's honestly amazing.
And this is a very good start from Sonny, because basically here now in the standby phase of his opponent he will activate the Shangri-La, so he will be summoning another piece from his deck. Here comes the Fenrir. And this is one of the main reasons why Kashtira that has just been released is very, very powerful, honestly, because not only locks your zones, but the Arise acts as a pseudo Macrocosmos, let's say, while Biff is up on the field.
Macrocosmos is so strong, and of course even more against Tier Element. But now his opponent will try his best to stay in this game. He starts things by just normal summoning, and the Mad Dragon is obviously decent at keeping his field, but he goes right away. Interesting.
Okay.
He decides not to hold, and he goes for the pop, banishing face down the nearly summoned card.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably asking if it's banished face down or face up, and it is face down. And doing so, he can trigger the other effects by banishing even more cards and attaching back a material, which is usually the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Here they're showing a translation. And yeah, just to make sure that everything is clear. So as you mentioned, now both will activate and Shangri-La will lock another of the zones, getting back that Big Bang. Do you think it was that needed to use it right away, though?
Yeah, I think you could have waited, honestly, to just let your opponent XYZ summon. Because now here you can just go, exactly, for this one, and you're just gonna risk it, right?
Absolutely, but maybe he has a face-down card. Connor is debating just going for a Baguska, even in attack position, to go into the Zeus, as mentioned. But maybe there is an impermanence face-down from Sonny. I think I did see it, if he is meaning them.
He might be holding a copy of the Infinite Impermanence still. I don't know. I think he might have waited to
Yeah,
use
he's
the
just
riser.
trying
Yeah.
to push here, but let's see.
Yeah, because now he's under a battle phase.
Yeah,
Does he have Book of Eclipse? Maybe?
I mean, it depends who the target of the attack is. Did you catch if it was the Fenrir?
Yeah,
Yeah, he does. Interesting. So, Book of Eclipse being activated defensively. Here, obviously, he gets the zones back. You see this card being used more offensively later on, but
Yeah.
it's still a pretty decent defensive option. Of course, you give your opponent a draw, and even the Baguska is especially annoying. But this works out in the end. And as you can see here, Connor is not just playing pure tier elements, but he's playing Kashtira cards of his own, as that is the planet Fuel Spell, and not just the planet Perle Rhino, it is the pressured planet. So here it is on the screen for you guys.
Yeah, Connor's deck list is pretty peculiar, I would say, because basically he's playing only one copy of Planet alongside with the set rotation. So, and then he plays the Bestial package as well. And now he's going to activate from his end the Tillemans Kashtira. Let's see what he mails. Oh, Sonny has Infinite Impermanence, as you said. He might be holding that. And I think you will go for the Impermanence because your opponent has already normal summon, so it will make sense, honestly, to activate the Impermanence here, I think. Yeah,
He's considering
he
it, and he does. So he negates the Terleman Kashtira with his Impermanence. Yeah, just gonna check some attack points, it seems like. But let's see if Connor has something else that he can do. He has been playing at quite a reasonable speed, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Ooh, and he does have
There's
the
also the talent. And he's going to draw through 2 fresh cards. Let's see if he can pick up anything that could help him out, but looks like
Yeah, he ended his turn.
he ended his turn.
So he ends his turn, and we get even an additional card by the Baguska here. Let's see if Sonny will find the correct solution for it. As you can see here, he starts things by just flipping some of his monsters. And there is an interesting out in his deck. There are a few, we can say, as we are gonna see them coming up now.
Yeah. And here comes the Dagger for Hire.
Yep. I mean, you know that Baguska is an issue for the deck, of course. And here, as you can see, the Furrier comes down. It's essentially a Direwolf if you want, but it has to be different types. Their opponent are just checking whether that's legal, I guess. Yeah, because they're both psychic, so they have to use a different type to make it.
Yeah, I think that was the issue here, but he could otherwise just flip the Arisar.
Absolutely. Yep. So they're quick to notice, and now I think we can go on. As you mentioned, he can flip the Rise Art if he feels like it. Obviously, it would be a little bit of a misstep just because whatever you flip and you're forced to use now, you cannot switch to attack position anymore. But he's gonna go for a tribute summon.
Ah, okay.
Interesting. Wow. Going the tough way just to play around his small misstep, as to normal summon a shifter and then go into this time properly summoned Dagger Furrier, who is gonna destroy both itself and the Baguska. His opponent is gonna read it, of course, not something you see every day, I would say. And yeah, this is looking still quite good for the Italian.
Yeah, especially because like there's the birth face up on the field, and then Sonny will be able to use burst effect to just special summon one of his Kashtira monsters.
And yeah, it does. It does resolve, and now, as mentioned, he can just flip back the Arise Art whenever he feels like that's the right moment. Use the spell to get back a Kashtira, and he's definitely in the driving seat.
Yeah.
So. Because honestly, even the first effect of Birth is good enough, allowing you to normal summon another monster, but it's not only that. It's really, really strong.
Let's see if he gets the Unicorn here or the Fenrir.
Yeah, it does so much.
Yeah, because now you can take the Kashtira Theosis.
Yeah, this is really strong for Sonny, who will get, as you mentioned, the Kashtira Theosis, allowing him to just special summon back either the Fenrir or another of his monsters. He's also playing one copy of the Scarecrow, which would have been another way to out the Baguska, but didn't need it right here and now. So yeah, he does get the Fenrir, so a lot of advantage from the Italian. And as you can see here, as soon as that card gets banished, he gets to equip it right back with the Arise Art, as it's whenever a card is activated.
Yeah,
so
this is even better because when the Theosis gets banished, he gets back also the Arise Art.
It's so much advantage.
Yeah. Here gets also, as you mentioned previously, the Scarecrow Kashtira, which might help him out sealing this game if he finds this way.
At the worst case scenario, it's an extender. You can use it to XYZ, so it's really strong. Gonna go for it. Yep.
Yeah.
So he summons the Scarecrow Kashtira now, and will probably use it again to equip a third material, and this could be enough to even push for game.
Yeah.
Because now he can detach 3 materials and even use the Big Bang again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and here comes also the Rise Art as well. And I think here Sonny found a way to out the Baguska, and also potentially closing this game in this turn. Here comes another material for a Rise Art.
And this is well played by Sonny, who can go for an XYZ, and unless there is a very slow rolled Nibiru in the end from Connor, I think this is definitely going to be over in just a matter of seconds.
Yeah, also the Diablos is being summoned here from Sonny, but now with the Rise Heart effect, he gets rid of.
Yeah, we mentioned how it's really cool to see one of the YCS prize cards being played at this level of success, and this is number 89, Diablosis, which can do so much in this deck, getting rid of basically 16 cards very, very easily with one of the most basic combos of the deck going first. And yeah, Connor has seen enough. He picks up his cards, and it is Sonny who wins game 1. What a show of dominance by the Italian player. There was just a little moment of worrying, but he had both the Impermanence and the Book of Eclipse to prevent a Zeus from coming down. And with that being the case, there was not much that could have gone wrong.
No, exactly, especially because like he immediately fixed, let's say, that small, you know, misstep. But I think he played it really well throughout the Bagusk, and then also, you know, he found his way to seal the game in just the turn, not giving his opponent another chance, you know, to advance into the turn. And yeah, I mean, I think he showcased us how powerful the Kashtira deck is. Well, on the other side, Connors, now looking at the side deck, he has a lot of different options, honestly, and I like the variety, honestly, of his side deck in general.
Absolutely, it's very unique. As mentioned in the main deck, he already has 3 copies of Nibiru. Those are gonna stay there, I can tell you that much. But for the rest, he has a lot of one-offs.
Yeah, he has a lot of one-offs. He has the Turtleman's Crime. Also, he plays 3 triple tactic thrust, which might go in if you really feels like.
Which is the main reason why he has that many one-offs of trap cards, such as Metaverse and Dimensional Barrier, because essentially those are, unless something weird happens, you know, kind of like playing 4-offs because of the trust.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, I don't think he's siding that much in. While on the other end, Sonny, as we mentioned, has a very unique deck in the main deck, because he's playing Cherry, Shifter, and Ash Blossom alongside Impermanent, so he's basically maining 12 cards already, plus, as we have seen, the Book of Eclipse.
Yeah.
So the main deck is already quite stable, I would say, but the side deck is also really solid.
Yeah, the side deck is as well super solid because he's playing, I think, your favorite card ever.
Guess what? I mentioned it previously, but Sonny has listened to me and is giving one last ride to the Sanctum Artifact Site combo. So I definitely want to see that. I doubt we'll see it in Game 2 if we go to a Game 3, but we'll see it surely coming in. Our players, though, are ready, so let's just go back to the table and find out the winner of Game 2. Here they are, and again, this time it will be Connor who goes first, tries to go through one of his combos. As we mentioned, he also has quite a unique list with set rotation and a few Kashtira cards. But we see the Cherry, I think.
Here comes the Eastern Fusion and Sonny.
Ooh, but what a punish.
Does he have Cherry?
Because I'm pretty sure he has Cherry and he cannot use it. So it's the biggest punish, the Eastern Fusion, because it needs your opponent to have a monster.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, it can be a really good card, but the one Eastern Fusion is the huge punish for this card. Very unfortunate here by Sonny, who will quickly need to find out another card, and it's not easy to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, because now here you really have to think about on where to activate the Cherry on, because you're also looking at Sonny extra deck. He might be holding it and doing on either Sprite Elf or the Zeus. That's the only two cards he can actually banish from Connor's extra deck.
Very unfortunate, as we mentioned. It would have been devastating any other situation. But now it's more of a negative than a positive in his hand. But now, let's see these mills.
But there's the Shifter.
But there is Shifter, never mind.
Wow, okay.
He has both. So Shifter coming down from Sonny. What a shock. This is huge.
Yeah, this is very powerful, honestly, here, because now your opponent is basically forced either into go and pass. Okay, there's the thrust, never mind. And with the thrust, he might be taking the Dimensional Barrier, honestly. I think he took the barrier. We missed it.
Yeah, but as expected, he just sets a couple of face-down cards and has to pass back to his opponent. Did he just set one?
I think he sets. Yeah, I think he said one, maybe.
That's very unfortunate
Yeah.
for Sonny. Yeah.
Wow.
Only a couple of face-down cars, no Kashtiras for Sonny. And this shifter, which looked like it could have been the easy path to a 2-0, has actually just been the best card in his hand. He doesn't have anything else going on, which is great news for Connor fans out there, who is now in the driver's seat to take this game. Still, he has to play without the Kid Kalos, which isn't that easy to do. But, I mean, when you're up against a couple of back rows, which most likely are not going to do much, you'll take it.
And now he sends to the graveyard the Shayrin, and yeah, it looks like maybe Sonny might be holding an Infinite Impermanence. Let's see.
Yeah, going through his options, he's gonna probably have to get rid of the Zeus, or no?
Maybe he was hoping that he had another Kid Kalos.
Okay, so you can see Sonny smiling. He got bluffed, I guess, or just as you mentioned, there are quite a few people playing Chu, so he had to take the risk, and he banished. Declared at least the Kid Kalos, but his opponent is only playing the one copy and will now attack, but we see an enemy controller.
Okay.
Why though? Do you think it's necessary to use it here?
No, I think I will just you know, kept it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's
it's not over
at all.
Yeah.
Like you would keep it all the time, especially because it's amazing with Zeus. If now your opponent commits to a Baguska, for example, you take it. So unfortunate here from the Italian, and let's see, we could see the dark. Yeah, that is the case. With this can then turn into a sprint, and Beatrice is the way we have seen this already previously on today.
Yeah.
Great recognition by Connor, and as mentioned, this is looking rough for the Italian player, who has an Ash, but this is just such a minus.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing that Sonny can do at this point.
One last draw to save the day. Does he pick up anything? He's gonna get a draw phase activation of the Beatrice. Only entraps in the graveyard from Sonny. And yeah, we get to see the Shayrin. Shuffling back a couple of cards. Let's see. Yeah, we see the Kaleido just getting rid of the last card from Sonny, which is... Let's see.
It was
another enemy controller, yeah. What a end.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, very unfortunate, and only 2 cards left, and yeah, he picks up his cards. Unfortunately, the shifter was not enough. We are going to game 3.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just how life goes. I am pretty sure Connor Hart stopped for a moment when he saw that shifter. He was probably just thinking, oh well, this is over, and I'm going at least to the next round with my first defeat. But never say never. He kept his composure, and in the end he was able to, thanks to the very, very low power and from the Italian, he had nothing to do.
Yeah,
he pretty much had all of these main deck or side deck cards for the matchup, but he was missing the Kashtiras.
Yeah.
And
was
without
missing
them,
some pieces, you cannot do anything basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, as mentioned, honestly, I am happier that we are gonna see a game 3 for one main reason, that is Artifact Sanctum, one of my favorite cards of all time, and now we'll see it in action from the Italian, because he's citing 3 copies of it alongside Dimensional Barrier. So he's going really aggressive, going first in this matchup. We'll see if that pays off, but I gotta say I like it.
Yeah, no, I really like the idea, honestly, because I think your deck is very set up for this kind of matchup, and also in general, if you go second, having both the shifter and the cherries, I mean, in that situation, of course, with the Eastern Future, you cannot get rid of the Kikalos, but in general, also, if you go first, you have the Grave Creeper Inscription, which...
Yeah, it's even more. Basically, going first, he has 3 Sanctum, 3 Inscription, and 2 Barriers, which is so much alongside the shifters that can really understand why he's doing so well. And we have mentioned it, how in these huge events with, as mentioned, basically 2,400 players, you really need to win those early rounds to guarantee to play against tier.
Yeah.
So our players are basically ready, so let's go to the table to find out who will be the winner of round 7. Okay, let's see the start, and it is the Inscription, which we have not seen too much of yet, but it's such a great card from the Italian. It can do so much. It will be used to pretty much prevent the effects in the graveyard from Connor asking for a translation, but great card because it prevents them for both turns.
Yeah.
So will not only negate any possible Avnis in the end, but the next turn will be shut down completely. And now even the Prosperity to search for some of his combo cards. This is looking like a very strong opening by Sonny.
Yeah, because now he's going to banish 6 cards, and let's see what he picks up. A Unicorn will be really good, for example.
Yeah, any of those cards, and here is the Sanctum. You can see how much he doesn't want to lose this one, but yeah, the Unicorn is the last one. If he needed some combo pieces, it will be that. And yeah, Unicorn is one of the best way to do it. As you can see, Connor not really happy with that, but that how Sonny built his deck. And yeah, he will get to special summon it, most likely accessing the Theosis, and this is the basic full combo of Kashtira.
Yeah, so basically just starting with Unicorn, you can set up on the field the Shangri-La, plus the Diablosis if you really want to, and just the Unicorn alone. So
it does so much, and as expected, you see the Theosis here. Let's see if there is a response from Connor. Let's not forget about Nibiru, because that's an option. It could be in the end. And we'll see if Sonny is even interested in playing around it.
Yeah, I really like the Grave Creeper Inscription, actually, because he's playing, 3 of them, 3 Sanctum, 2 Barrier, honestly.
So much.
So powerful.
He really doesn't want to risk it. And it's similar to how Flow Wonder is as well plays with the... the Feather Storms going first. I like that. You have these auto-win buttons that you can push when you go first. As Retribute is not an option anymore.
Yeah.
And I see one of the Nibirus being banished, which makes it less likely that one was in the end from Connor.
And I'm curious to see him, because basically Sonny did not banish the Big Bang, which we saw revealed with the Prosperity, so he doesn't have it in end.
He might play around Nibiru, because this is... Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So I think pretty interesting decision by Sonny.
Yeah. Nibiru that Connors drew for turn.
Yeah, Nibiru was not in the end, but it is now. So he drew it, and Sonny decided to play around it by stopping at 4 summons when, as you mentioned, he could have gone a step further.
And I think this this is in general well played. Just you don't really want to risk anything, honestly.
Yeah,
So-
with the inscription, really,
Yeah.
you can afford it. And now we see a set rotation come down. The only interesting thing is that in this matchup, he cannot really use it to the full power
Yeah.
because he's forced to get the
Yeah,
Kashtira.
exactly.
In other matchups, it's interesting because you can choose whichever you want to get, and I like it as a choice. It's definitely interesting. But in this matchup, yeah, you have to get the Kashtira.
Yeah.
So. Let's see, because now he gets the Fenrir, I believe. It's one of the few cards he has in the deck, right?
Yeah.
And he will use it probably to try and attack to activate his effect. Let's see.
Would you have activated though the Arise Art on the planet?
I guess he's considering it, but then he probably wants to wait. And I agree with you that it could have been worth it. Let's see. At the same time, it's not that big of a punish. You can play around the Fenrir. But let's see. In case it doesn't chain directly to it. So you can get rid of the Fenrir. But I agree with you that he could have thought about it. But maybe, you know, it could be a bluff if he has the Fenrir in the end. But I think he didn't wait for it. He's gonna allow it. And this is definitely an interesting decision by Sonny. Because now this does not allow you to do much. You have to wait for the start of battle phase, I think.
Yeah. Now he goes for the Shireen.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Now Defender gets activated. That's why it was.
Yeah.
I think I would have used the Ariser.
No, yeah, I think Sonny didn't catch this. Unfortunately, might be the nerves of playing on future that gets to him. But this is definitely a misstep in the way he has been playing until now. Unfortunate, because honestly, he had every tool he needed to win this game smoothly. I don't think anything could have gone wrong, and unfortunately he didn't catch his opponent intention, which was, as mentioned, using Shireen for this exact reason. Because even then he could have actually chained to the Shireen the Arise Art on the Fenrir, and he didn't see it.
Exactly. I think that okay. Also, he also has
and we
instant
see the
fusion.
instant fusion. Okay.
The thing is that basically, if you go the Arise Art on the planet, you basically prevent your opponent selfing your own Ariser. That's the thing.
I agree you can wait, but it's again, it doesn't really matter. I think as long as the Fenrir hits the field, you just have to do it. It's too risky. And now it's an issue. Now he risks it. There are also 10 minutes left, which means that his opponent is getting ahead on life. And Sonny has 3 cards in his hand, so now he goes up to 4. Let's see what he picks up. Ooh, and it's a trap, which is huge. Getting a trap is huge because it turns the Redoer into an effective removal. Spinning one back. Let's see if Sonny has enough.
This is very powerful. The impermanence is very, very good hit for Konami.
Yeah. Birth is definitely a good way to start things off. But yeah, as we mentioned, the Redoer is really, really good.
Yeah.
Trap was by far the best he could have revealed here.
Here you can just go for the Fenrir. So at least, I think I will go for the Fenrir. then use Fenrir's effect to get maybe the Unicorn, and then you get the Theosis.
Yeah, he's gonna just read the Redoer to make sure he knows what's going on here. And it's surprising that he didn't use it, right?
Yeah. Okay, goes for the Unicorn instead.
Because he could have used it to just bounce back the birth.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, gets the Theosis with the Unicorn.
Yeah, he can flip it. Sonny checking if adding a tier element was mandatory, but it's not. It's not like Oracle of Zephyra, which is the key spiral combo that used to be played. But yeah, now we get to see this, and Connor is not really interacting.
He could have done the Redoer here, and Sonny would have, he would have not have summoned it.
Now we get to see the Fenrir in action once again.
Because I'm thinking on, what do you think Connor wants to use the Redoer then?
It's definitely tough to figure out, I agree. I would have even used it as soon as the birth came down, to be fair. But
yeah, but also I think it was good to use it on the Theosis.
For sure.
Because like you put it on the top and you don't resolve.
Which at the same time was greedy on both sides, because Sonny could have also just entered battle phase before. But it's working out, and now we get to see the big eye. Nice. Something we have not seen since the Dragon Rulers, I feel like. Such a long time ago. What a throwback. I think they're just giving his opponent a translation. I mean, can't blame him. If you have not played, this card was probably played the last time in 2013, which is 10 years ago, by the way. I feel old now.
Seems yesterday.
Yeah, I feel really old. But yeah, now finally he decides to go for the Redoer. I don't know why he has been waiting for so long. Honestly, on both sides, I feel like they risked it way too much that I would have been comfortable with. Yep. And now we get to see a play from Connor himself. Going for the Kid Kalos, which will be negated by Ash Blossom. Interesting.
Let's see if now Sonny has a way
it's
to
not
deal with this.
that easy, but I think he starts things off. Is it the Scareclaw? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is the Scareclaw. Does he have something else? He does. So he normal summons, gets it back, as mentioned, by banishing the Theosis. So this was great by the Italian.
Wow, there's
but there is the Nibiru, as we knew. But yeah, we gotta act as if we are Sonny now. And this hurts so much, also because of the Kid Kalos.
Yeah.
They're just counting the summons, of course. But yeah, it was 5. For sure. Summoned so many monsters this turn.
Yeah.
I think it's even more than 5. just counting down some attack points, but yeah, I think this won't be pleasant from the Italian, especially because now the Kid Carlos also gets the trigger.
Yeah. Nibiru comes down here, unfortunately for Sonny. Now 5 cars being milled.
Kind of a whiff, but it depends if he has a car. He does not.
Okay.
So a complete whiff on the mills, giving the little bit of hope left by Sonny, who passes back, I think, to his opponent.
Yeah.
Well, this time will activate the Druid Swarm, and this makes it so that he can play next turn and try and push for game quite easily.
I think you can go for Dark.
Yeah, even just Dark, if there is a target, would be enough. Let's see. Is there anything in the grave from Sonny that he can take? He's gonna go for Dark. Use the Druid Wisdom to just destroy the token. And yeah, check the graveyard. And I think Connor is doing a great job. Let's see. Probably there won't be one. So he just enters Battle Phase, so giving his opponent another turn.
There was no target.
Yeah, there were no Darks. So now he has probably been forced to either go for a sprint. Yeah, I think you cannot risk it. It's gonna go for a sprint.
Yeah.
Sending them early, and one last turn remaining. Then after this, force Sonny to try and fight back with 1,000 life points and 3 minutes on the clock. Kaleidoar, it's the field, a face down is back, and yeah, Sonny with his shoulders against the wall, trying to stay in this game with just 3 minutes remaining. Does so by using Birth as the first card. Definitely a great option to start things off, but he needs to play as quickly as possible. He really is in a tough spot. And yeah, even the Saliek, wow. This hurts a lot, yeah. This seems like it will be too much now. As Kaleido is summoned back, and he even gets to go into another fusion. Yeah, well played.
Yeah.
Now gets rid of the Birth. And could go into a Stapelia if he feels like that's safe enough to guarantee the game. Let's see, Sonny really needing a miracle to stay in this with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. He has to go into the big eye again, but there is the Stapelia there. He's gonna enter battle phase to attack over sprint, the interesting choice there. And yeah, here comes the Zeus. With this Stapelia negating it, and yeah, Sonny not really recognizing it. Once again the spot he was in. Unfortunately, just has to set a face down card and pass play back to his opponent.
Yeah, quite unfortunate for Sonny.
Yeah,
there was nothing else that he could have done.
It seems like we will see an handshake quite soon. An attack is declared. The Sanctum flipped, just trying to stay in this game as much as he can. with this site being used defensively. At least I got to see one used. I can't complain too much about it. But yeah. Only a matter of seconds now before time is called, and Connor has been declared the winner, as you can see here, even using the thrust. And yeah, time is called and shake, and it is Connor who wins round 7. What a match and what a way to do it. Both players giving him all they had to take this round 7. Amazing, amazing show off. We mentioned it at the beginning. Both successful and known players in their own community. Connor in the UK and Sonny in Italy. But they really tried their best to claim and go with a 7-0 record. In the end, unfortunately though, it was more of a one-side show, I think, from both sides, trying their best. But the comeback was accomplished by Connor, who I gotta say, credits to both. But Connor losing game 1. Game 2 is a shifter and is able to come back from a shifter. And then in game 3, once again, crushing opening by his opponent. But I gotta say, a little bit of a misstep by Sonny with the Ferrier situation. Could have handled it a lot better, I gotta say.
The views on the blind, unfortunately. I think that would have been quite different.
For sure, but sometimes that's how it is. Nerves can get to you. Hopefully, Sonny will be able to stay in this, and we'll see it again in the top cut. But thank you guys for being with us. This was our last future match, at least talking about the Italian team. Me and Alberto will leave you to the lovely Germans, and we'll see you tomorrow at the beginning for the first round of day 2. Me and Alberto will be back. So thank you for having us, but now our winner Connor is ready with Ed.
Thank you, Marcello. Yes, I am here with Connor, who's just won round 7 here of our feature match. Congratulations. So talk to us a little bit about your deck, because it's tier, but with a bit of Bestial, with a bit of Kashtira. Talk to us a bit about the composition of your deck.
Right, so it's very standard. It's took inspiration from like Water Jewel and the list before and the list I played at Dortmund. So I'm only on 1 Miller, like 1 Fenrir, this tiniest little cash package for set rotation. As I just wanted more copies of Planet, and Planet is the card that wins you the games all the time, so just max out on those.
Out of curiosity, why not any of the Ishizu ones in there?
So in the mirrors, the better players, when you invent all this chaos in the game, right, you go like 5 on sleep, 5 on side, you get like channeling 10, especially for these longer round tournaments, you're going to fatigue. And I just didn't want to fatigue, and then I didn't want to add that added variance in, because without that variance, I'm better than my opponent. So there's no point giving them an opportunity to steal a game off me where I'm just going to win anyway when I'm better than them. So.
Okay, good confidence. Okay, so let's go through some of the plays there, because there was quite a lot going on. There's a lot of back and forth with Kashtira. So there was a lot of the Book of Eclipse defensively in game 1 from him.
Yeah.
What were you thinking at that moment? Because that was an unusual choice, but it worked.
So I was trying to, he knew that I knew I was trying to go for Zeus, right? So I had to bait the first pop, which was fine. Got into Baguska, so I'm threatening Zeus there. So the moment I go battle phase, it's like it's signaled, right? He knows. So that's fine. He booked it, and it's whatever. And actually, like, it's super nice for me because when it comes back up, it's in defense. So then he's locked, right? So I managed to have both positions on once. So yeah, it's really good. So the Eclipse was like just a solid play for him.
And then there was a number of different bits with Tribute Summoning Shifter to make Donna Dagger for hire, to out the Baguska, the Rise Heart really laying on the pressure for you. But then with the Diablosis, the Mind Hacker, you ended up just Scooby. So what's going through your mind with all those?
You really need to draw non-engine versus Cash. And I just didn't draw any non-engine, so engine versus engine, Cash is just way better. It's like, it just destroys you like when it's engine versus engine. And then we saw that like games 2 and 3 when like started drawing more of the non-engine cards. I had a bit more of an edge. So yeah, just keep it up, give more time for games 2 and 3. Try and draw that non-engine and just play my game. Yeah.
So you were having confidence, knowing it doesn't matter, I can scoop on this and then try and bring it back in the next 2 games.
Yeah, it was unwinnable anyway, so game 1 was just a complete blowout, and that's how it goes sometimes.
That is how it goes sometimes. A positive outlook. But let's go into game 2. So immediate instant fusion for you. But then there was the dimension shifter, set 2 pass. So clearly a brick from him and sort of making you think, right. So when you see that, what's going through your mind to take advantage of that situation?
I just want to play assertively, don't want to give him any chances to win. You know, I managed to thrust for D shifter and I have search meta noise. So the moment he even starts playing, it's it's already over. If you have to set a dimensional barrier and you're not flipping it turn 2, it's over. It's curtains.
Because there was also the Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. Basically, this was a really hard round for him, or a hard game, because it's just bad luck after bad luck. But that Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries declared the Kit Kalos. You only have 1.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. There's actually theory to it. So you know, if you're playing 2 kit, 1 Zeus, and if you're playing 1 kit, 1 Zeus, they're still taking Zeus, because that's the thing that breaks the board. So there's no point playing a second slot and having a 14 card extra deck when, again, I've only played 1 Kashtira event, so it hasn't come up. And you know, and it's spot. There's better cards, so. No point.
You exude confidence and calmness about this deck. It's interesting to see. So there was a lot of things. The Dark to Summon Shifter from Sunny's Grave, overlaid with the Garura for Beatrice. Then there was the Fusion Collider Heart using Pellerino on enemy controller. So basically, he bricked the 2 set enemy controllers, no follow-up to Shifter, so he scooped. We then get into game 3. The Gravekeeper's Inscription from Sonny, which is basically another Shifter, so you're inhaling through your teeth there. So what's that say to you when that immediately comes out turn 1?
It's an uphill battle from there. It is uphill, and it's the same as Shifter. Now they printed a second Shifter, so you've got to deal with it, right? 6 has got to be a Shifter, so yeah, I'm thinking I've got to get lucky. I've got to draw into my non-engine, and my hand was no non-engine either. So yeah, I managed to pull it out somehow.
But yeah, it was lots of things like the Rise Heart getting 3 level 7s for a Rise Heart, and then you banished a Rise Heart with Fenrir. The big interaction between Big Eye and Time Thief Redoer as well, and then Time Thief Redoer was sort of doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. The Kit Kalos got hit by Ash Blossom. Yeah. And then he got hit by the Nibiru. So I think everyone on stream might have seen you draw the Nib, and they were waiting for that. So you were really keeping patience there for that.
Yeah. So I set it up so I could start milling during my turn, but I drew the Nib, and then I'm thinking to myself, I don't actually have to try and RNG it with the Kashtira kit to Kashtira tier anymore, because I'm able just to make kit search. Obviously, it got negated, but that's fine because the body's still on board. And the moment I nib, it's I'm milling 5, so I'm milling more cards. So again, it just made it better for me drawing the nib. And the nib was what blew it out in the end. So and then also his misplay would let me Fenrir the Rise Heart. If he doesn't let me do that, he probably wins. He wins the game, yeah, for sure.
But he didn't win the game. You won the game, and you won this round. So congratulations. The penultimate round of today. We've only got 1 more. So what's your score now?
I'm 7-0. So
pretty good.
So far. Yeah, it is good, but anything can happen.
But is there anything that you're a bit anxious about going up against with your current deck? You seem pretty confident about all of this, so I think you're probably going against everything with sort of an open mind, ability to go forward.
Yeah, there's no real bad matchup. There's obviously the matchups like the other shifter decks. They are what they are. You prepare for them, you play them, and if they have it, they have it. So
I admire your attitude, Connor. I really wish you the best of luck throughout this. Congratulations again on this round. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got 1 more of these rounds, and then that's it for today. But then we've got loads more Swiss and all of our top cuts coming tomorrow. But there's still 1 more to go. We'll see you shortly.
So many strong single cards like Snatch Steel, like Heavy Storm, like BLS, Pot of Greed, Graceful. You really want to draw into them. So you play all these turbo cards like Jar of Greed and Upstart Goblin so you can get there faster.
Yeah, definitely. Basically reducing your deck count by a couple of cards just makes you draw your powerful one-offs more often, as you just perfectly explained. And also one thing I really like about Jar of Greed is you can more often just set 2 back rows, because your opponent will be like, yeah, that's a free Heavy Storm because I'm making +1, and then you're like, hey, I have Jar of Greed, so it's actually just a trade-off. Yeah. Or Jar of Greed twice would even be better. And there's Magician of Fate for the Pot of Greed, and Marcello can't believe it. Both of them now on 9k life because of upstart goblins on both sides, and he just instantly leaves it in the spell trap zone, resolving the Pot of Greed. And there's also the Nobleman of Crossout already in his hand, and I think he's going to go for it.
Usually you would maybe wait for the Nobleman of Crossout until you are absolutely sure that there's a Magician of Faith face down. It was the Magical Merchant, which is not going to get banished any further. There's only one in the deck. But at this hand size that Alberto has, it just makes sense to directly
you just want to trade 1 for 1, definitely, because you're so far ahead right now, and you don't want to give Marcello the chance to also draw his powerful cards that are generating card advantage, and therefore you are trying to go for aggressive approach here. You are normal summoning Sanguine, and now both the Magician in Fate and the Sanguine are going to attack, and that brings Marcello down in life points a little bit more. Also, I think Alberto actually checked his back row, and it's interesting because I think I saw Jar of Greed in his back row at least one time, and he's just not even activating it because he wants Marcello to commit something into the card so he can just chain it, and he doesn't need the draws right now. He's in a very, very, very solid position, so he doesn't need to resolve those necessarily.
Sanguine, by the way, a card that has been popular in a few formats ago. I think Nationals 2022.
Yeah. People started using this as a normal summon to then summon out the Arborea after link summoning
search
into
the
Rush.
Arborea,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and then you could summon it away, and you instantly had access to Crystal and Halkifi Brax with the one card that Sanguine is. That's pretty cool indeed. And now there's two Sanguines staring at each other, 6 eyes looking on the field right now. Quite a stare up, and there's a tribute summon for Thunderdragon now.
We see that a lot apparently in these matches so far. Sanguine is going to trigger and get the Sinister Serpent, so there is so much good discard fodder for Alberto.
And look, Marcello already banished a light and a dark for Alberto, but Alberto's like, no, no, no. I have to draw into my Black Luster Soldier Envoy of the beginning first with that Jar of Greed. And is it happening now? Okay, no, he revealed the Sinister Serpent once more. And just another Jar of Greed, as he said, you can just set multiples, fool your opponent into believing you don't have, you actually are targetable for Heavy Storm. Oh look, even Marcello now has set multiple back rows, and there is the Light in the Dark being banished for Chaos Sorcerer.
And he uses the player priority, which still worked back then on the monster effects, to just immediately banish the Sanguine before anything like a Bottomless Trapple or something like that can
Look
happen.
at the hand of Alberto. He has like 8 cards in his hand there, and one of them was Solemn Judgment, which is a super good card.
Really interesting choice by Alberto to summon the Chaos Sorcerer in attack position, because it cannot attack after activating the effect, and you open yourself up to a Mirror Force.
You're right, there would have been a quite nice Mirror Force there for Marcello, but he doesn't have it. He only uses Scapegoat to protect himself there. I think I see a Metamorphosis in his hand, so we might be seeing the tribute of one of those Scapegoat tokens for one of those Thousand Eyes Restrict. I tried to do that on Alberto. He countered it immediately with the Argeki Break, which was quite frustrating.
And he has one again.
There it. Yeah, okay, we have the Metamorphosis. Let's see, is there something on the Thousand Eyes Restrict? There indeed is the Raigeki Break. Yep.
Discard the Sinister Serpent. Exactly, this card will return in the standby phase if Alberto does not forget about it, which happens quite a lot, to be honest.
I mean, for us, because we're fools and we're losing in the top 4 versus those guys. But
I mean, we made top 4.
At least that, at least that.
This is something to be proud of.
Absolutely. But yeah, those two are really good. So what are we thinking about now?
Sinister Serpent, by the way, also available in Speed Duel, as you can see.
Yeah, very cool, definitely. So that Raigeki Break certainly will be used on the Thousand Eyes Restrict. Like there's no discussion. What else would you target there? You just immediately want to go after this. And oh, we have enemy controller. That's kind of nice. So that makes the Raigeki Break miss. And we also are going to get a monster from our opponent's side. And I mean, I'm looking at that Chaos Sorcerer. Of course, we are trying to get that Chaos Sorcerer there.
Yeah, and then you can activate the effect of Chaos Sorcerer to banish itself.
Oh, but there's Solemn Judgment on that!
That is a big investment on Alberto's side.
That's quite costly in terms of life points, 4,500 life points, but that also brings the card advantage game even more into the favor of Alberto, because Marcello doesn't have a whole lot of cards in hand left, and we know Alberto has still like 6 cards or something in his hand. Look, he's shuffling. I think I see Gravekeeper, Spy, Breaker.
Yeah, Breaker could be crucial here unless this set card is a Torrential Tribute. If Alberto normal summons the Breaker, then it has to be Torrential, otherwise Marcello is in a horrible spot.
Look, he's not missing the Sinister Serpent, of course, so it's back in the hand. And it's a bunch of monsters for Alberto. That's quite crazy.
Yeah, that's not that good for him, by the
Not
way,
really,
because you really want to, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Or standard format, you sometimes have crazy combos if you open 5 monsters, but in 2005, having 5 monsters means you have 1 play at a turn.
Yep. Oh, and there it is. The Breaker uses its priority to get a counter, and then also using the effect. So when it's already using the effect to remove the counter, that means there was no response on the summon. So I don't think it's a Torrential Tribute there.
No, absolutely not. Can it at least be a Jar of Greed for Marcello Barberi? It is Ring of Destruction, and Alberto is getting dangerously low on health.
So maybe... I was considering whether Alberto should have used the Chaos Sorcerer effect first, but the problem is Chaos Sorcerer is not as good as his big brother Blackluster Soldier,
That's true.
so you can't banish face-down monsters, because I think
they
otherwise...
related?
Yeah, I would say so. They're definitely at least brothers, maybe cousins. They could be cousins, I will give them that. But yeah, the Blackluster Soldier could banish face-down monsters, but... Ooh, we gotta go after the Thunder Dragon here, interestingly enough.
And I think that maybe in the graveyard of Alberto, there is not a Dark Monster, but another Light Monster. So maybe this is the reason why he used Ring of Destruction in it.
Probably,
so there
yeah.
Can't be another.
Oh, and Magician
wow.
of Fate. So it looks like Marcello might be getting back into this here. Do we just go after another Metamorphosis? I can see that, honestly. Let's just go after another Metamorph and let's try it again. Okay, we go after the enemy controller. All right, all right. 1 token left for Marcello. So that is still a card you can tribute for the effect of enemy controller.
It is starting to look kind of decent for Marcello, because if Alberto passes on this, and wow, there is a Chaos Sorcerer.
Oh, and
This is
immediately being...
This is game! He can just enemy controller, tribute the token, take over the Chaos Sorcerer and attack over Breaker and attack with his own Chaos Sorcerer. There was so much card advantage on Alberto's side, but he only had monsters to play with.
Holy, that was looking super, super good for Alberto. I was already seeing him with the trophy in his hands. Like, he probably imagined it like himself too, but maybe that Solemn Judgment was a little bit too risky. Was it really necessary to stop that enemy controller there? Because you're just giving up monsters on the board. And let's be honest, you have enough monsters in your hand. You have enough follow-up monsters to just keep on chilling. And the question is, what is your opponent even going to do with that Chaos Sorcerer? Because he's taking the enemy controller.
Itself.
Oh yeah, but that means they can't.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, that means he cannot get rid of his own monsters. So probably would have been a lot better to just not do that, not taking the risk of losing that game there. But that means the first alternative format champion of the weekend is Marcello Barberi.
Marcello Barberi again.
Congratulations from the German side. Very, very, very cool final and very in style. And I've heard that Ed actually will interview our 2005 champion. So let's give it over to Marcello and Ed.
Hello guys, yes, I am here with both of our duelists in the final round. Obviously, Marcello, congratulations on your win. Before we come over to you, Alberto, commiserations on not quite taking home this time Wizard Format trophy. How do you feel? How do you felt that you played?
Oh, it was good, always, honestly, to play this format. We always enjoy, playing this kind of decks, and brings back old memories, So it was a good one. So
I really like watching it because it's so good to see all the classic cards that we knew back in the day sort of still being played on these feature matches here in 2023. But obviously, Marcello, going to have to come over to you. Congratulations. You've won the March 05 Time Wizard Format tournament. How do you feel?
Really good, really good. Now a two-time tournament champion of the casters. So we're going 3 for 3 or maybe 4 for 4. That's my goal. But no, we need Pot of Greed to win, I guess. So I am really glad. I enjoyed it a lot, as Alberto mentioned. I think it's a great way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just like we're gonna do tomorrow and all day. So it's really refreshing and I love it.
Well, great. Congratulations again. And we've still got more commentator tournaments coming your way. But obviously, the main thing for us to focus on here are your feature matches for the main event here at YCS Lyon. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more coverage coming your way. Attention Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists! Available for pre-order now, the Pot Collection. The Pot Collection is a very special made-to-order collection of figures that fit in the palm of your hand. Be sure to get yours now at the link below.
Complete your tablet of lost memories as the Egyptian god cards take center stage with new spells and traps so strong that only an Egyptian god can empower them. Yu-Gi-Oh! 2022, Kin of the Pharaoh's Gods. Unleash your past, empower your deck, fulfill your destiny. 54 cards per tin, each tin sold separately.
Obviously, the main focus of these tournaments is to get many of these duelists together from far and wide to come together and play the amazing trading card game. So what better to do than go and interview some of the players? Okay, where did you come from and how long did it take you to get here today?
I came from London and it took me about an hour and a half flight. Just got here and arrived here yesterday.
I came from London. It took around 5 to 6 hours with the airports, planes and trains. It was quite a long journey.
I came from Edinburgh, Scotland, and it took me about 4 hours train plus an hour and a half plane, so it wasn't too bad.
I'm from Belgium, and it took only 2 or 3 hours by flight. If I went by car, it would have been probably like 8 hours, unfortunately, but I was very fortunate that the plane ride was not quite as long.
I came from the Netherlands, but I'm actually Italian, and it took 9 hours of driving, so shout out to my friends who drove me here because I cannot drive.
I came from Italy. It was a long travel. I took 3 buses to come here, 16 hours or so. And but I'm only here for the side events. I'm not here for the main event.
I come from Belgium. It took me about we went by plane, so it was about 2 hours by plane. But we just ran around all day before we actually came here. So it's hard to say.
What is your favorite deck?
Oh, that's a hard one. I've only been playing for about a year and a half, so probably Punk, like pure Punk.
What do you like about it?
Just all the free draws, the fact you can play a lot of hand traps, non-engine, good stuff.
Favorite deck at the moment is Kashtira. Love the banishing, love the aggressive playstyle with it.
Our favorite deck I'd say it's probably Draco Pulse from 2016. I love Pendulum, so hope to make a comeback at some points.
My favorite deck has to be Wind Up. I played back in 2013 when I was still a little kid, and something about that deck in particular was just so attractive to me, and I still love it to this day.
My favorite deck is Purely, and I cannot wait for the supports coming out in Cyberstorm Axis in a few months. So,
my favorite deck, I have to say, is Necros, because I had a lot of fun with it. I'm really looking forward to see that deck come again because I really love it.
My favorite deck, definitely Tyrelmans. Issues Tyrelmans. Like, I've only been playing for 7 months. I played for 2/3 of those 7 months. I absolutely adore the deck.
What is your favorite card?
Hulk. Why do you like Hulk? Tuners. It was broken. It was fun. You could make Scythe, you could link climb, it was really fun.
Favorite card? Sword Soul, Sinister Sovereign, Qixing Long Wan.
Why?
Burn, burn, banish, banish, draw, draw, win. That's it.
Favorite card, to go back to Benjamin's Performance Blushfire. He was gone too soon, so I hope he comes back one day for sure.
My favorite card is a bit more recent, Tri-Brigade Shrike, the Ominous Omen. I played Tri-Brigade competitively for a very long time, and it's definitely like one of the cards that stuck by me the most.
Because of my favorite deck, I'd have to say it's probably Purely, or ex-Purely Noir. So yeah, that's what I will be playing tomorrow, so thumbs up for that.
Last time I said shooting Quasar Dragon, I'm not going to change my mind, but I have a strange preference to Moki Moki Adrift.
My favorite card used to be Thunder Dragon Colossus. Now it's probably Kitskalos.
Why?
She just does everything. She just makes the deck just like merge together in such a satisfying way.
What deck would you like to see make a comeback in the new format with the new Forbidden Unlimited list?
Punk again, because there's the new Sargus, Champion Sargus, that you can use with the Synchro that came up, the Plant Synchro as well. Punk cards, level 8, they can overlay into it, add Therions, seems really cool.
With the hit to Tearlament, I feel like decks that have a lot of like engine space are going to do well. I'd like to see Sword Soul come back. You've always been able to cram 10 to 12 just non-engine cards in there, so I've always loved the consistency of it as well.
It's a fair question. I think there's a lot of decks that could make a comeback with the new list, but I kind of would like to see maybe Spiral with the 3 resorts and no master plan to kind of see what different kind of approaches you could have.
Well, I hope Sword Soul will make a comeback because with Ishizu tier and all the pops, it didn't really have a lot of space to really react, but it's still a really, really strong deck, and if there is just a little bit less powerful, I think it might be a very viable option again.
I would love to see branded play because it's always a very interesting deck, and it can play a lot of you can play a lot of different versions, and it's probably going to be one of the top contenders, I would say.
Honestly, I don't know. We have tens of thousands of cards, and I feel anything can make a comeback. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to see what other people's ideas are.
I have my own on Plunder Patrol. Plunder Patrol looks like a really fun deck that probably has a chance now. Probably not going to be the best deck, but I do think it's going to be pretty viable.
And finally, Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon?
Dark Magician, for sure.
It's got to be Blue Eyes White Dragon, surely.
I think I'm gonna go for the Dark Magician, just because I'm a Yugi fan. I just like Yugi. I also have the shoes, so.
Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Dark Magician.
Why?
Because I love rooting for the underdogs.
I always say Blue Eyes. He's a dragon and he's cool, so for sure.
Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes White Dragon, of course.
Why?
It's a dragon. I love dragons.
Attention Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists! Available for pre-order now, the Pot Collection. The Pot Collection is a very special made-to-order collection of figures that fit in the palm of your hand. Be sure to get yours now at the link below.
My Millennium Necklace has seen the future of dueling, with ancient Tombkeeper cards to block your opponent's graveyard while testing your own powers of prediction. New hieroglyphic versions of your favorite cards and 6 different designs of sleeves to keep your cards safe. Your Yu-Gi-Oh! Future awaits you in magnificent Mavens. 20 cards and 70 sleeves per box, each box sold separately.
Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Lyon 2023. We are here with Alberto to talk about what's going on this weekend more in detail. So what's the meta discussion, what changes we saw since the last time we were here for a YCS. But before we jump into that, of course, we gotta say this event has been amazing already. People traveling from all over the world to compete this weekend. And what a throwback, I gotta say. It has been a while since we had a YCS in France for multiple different reasons, and the last time was actually YCS Paris in 2014, 9 years ago, and I gotta say that feels like a special moment, particularly to me, because back then I already had quite a few accomplishments, but I always lost on the bubble of a YCS, and YCS Paris was my first ever YCS top, so that feels like ages ago. It is ages ago, but now we should focus on the present. So a lot has happened since Vincenzo won the YCS with his tier deck. So first of all, I think we go step by step and we focus on the, I think, latest news and thing we are all excited about, which is the last official set, Photon Hypernova. Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
So basically we have seen with Photon Hypernova, let's say the deck, the new deck that we will be seeing this weekend with the Kashtira deck, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, but there are so many cool additions that really I think we have to start with at least one.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick one, which is Bestial Baldrake, for example, which is a very cool addition to the Bestial engine, let's say. It's one more piece during your combo to stop also your opponent, and I think that during this weekend we'll still be seeing a lot of players relying on tier elements, so another cool card to stop your opponent to activating his effect. And another card that comes to my mind, it's I think a very interesting one, which is the Gravity Creeper's Inscription.
Yeah.
And I think that this is another cool card that could be played in the main deck or in side deck, depending on your strategy this weekend. But I think with this card being added in Photo Hypernova, you have a lot of cards to basically stop your opponent, either to activating or special summoning, banishing cards from the graveyard.
Exactly. I mean, we saw in the last few events how the trend was either to play T-Elements, and especially after the Shizu card, it became the #1 deck, we can say, on the list. But afterwards, the decks were adapting to it. We saw a lot of successes from very unique decks. Of course, Flow Wanderers, we even have Pendulum lately, but Exorcister, another one of them. But those decks were relying on 3 copies of Dimension Shifter, which we know is a great card against this deck, but has one huge drawback. You have to draw it turn 1 and that's it, because otherwise it will be completely useless. Grave Creeper Inscription, not only does it give you 3 additional copy of a card that's really similar to Shifter, but you can draw it at any point of the duel and it will have an effect, both going first or second. It has different applications, so I agree with you that it's worth bringing it in. But I think the set is absolutely phenomenal. It gives, as you mentioned, a new huge support, which we always take a look at what's going on in Japan, and we know that the deck is really strong, and it will keep on getting stronger as time goes by. But this is also a great set for, we can say, underdogs, because there are a few potential game-changing cards for decks which some of you guys might enjoy playing. For example, I gotta say Labyrinth, which is seeing a lot of success on Master Duel, for example, and we might see it even here in Lyon because of one of the new cards, which is the Big Welcome Trap card, which was everything that the deck needed. Will it be enough? We'll find out, but I think it can take a spot in the top cut. But outside of that, I gotta mention what is probably my favorite card, or one of the favorites, which is Triple Tactic Thrust. So we all know how Triple Tactic Talent became one of the staple spell cards in the past, ever since it was released, combining 3 effects of powerful forbidden cards from the past. And this card is in a way even more unique. First of all, the advantage is that your opponent doesn't have to activate it just in the main phase. So whenever they activate a monster effect, even draw phase or standby phase, so this is really good against, for example, Ash Blossom, Veiler, these kind of cards, Veiler in the main phase, of course. It's also different because it accesses any spell and trap in your deck, and this makes it so that rogue decks have a really easy time searching for some of their very pesky traps, maybe even the inscription, which you have to activate at the beginning, so it's not exactly ideal. But it makes as well tier elements better. Why? Because of the 1 copy of Instant Fusion, which, as we know, is a great card. And whenever you're stopping its track, maybe with one of the Bestials, even the new one, then you can get to the Instant Fusion. But as well in the side deck, it's one of those cards that you really like. We mentioned how, for example, Pot of Prosperity was a huge card just because after siding, you get to see your sided cards. Trust is even better because you get to search for any card such as Evenly Matched, Dark Ruler No More, and who more wants about it, he gets. But talking specifically now about the decks where we're gonna see. We mentioned Ishizu tier elements, we know how the deck works, we are sure to see some of them advancing in the top cut, but I want to mention one last card, which is one of the new additions in the deck, which is both a Kashtira card and a tier element card, and it's called tier element Kashtira, which is a useful new name, which you can use to mill even more cards if you need to, so we might see some of that. But outside of the big name, how do you think Kashtira will do in this event?
So I really like the deck. It's one of these decks that I will honestly play. It's just a control deck, and also with only 1 card, Unicorn for example, you can put up on the field the Shangri-La plus the Diabolosis, which is super annoying to play against.
Absolutely.
Because basically you will be able to banish in total 7 cards from your opponent's deck and 1 card from his extra deck, which is something to keep in mind. But what I really like about the deck is that we could compare it to Flow Wanderers in a certain, thinking, because basically I think it's more consistent on a certain side because you have more starting card, but basically it is really good at what it does. And also having your main monster zone being locked with the Shangri-La could be a very huge problem.
Absolutely.
Talking about what you said, I think it's relevant to keep in mind that cards such as Triple Tactics Talent or, for example, Enemy Controller, Mind Control could be very powerful and popular this weekend, so that you can basically take your opponent's monsters, enter battle phase, and then go into Zeus.
Yeah, and that is true. And as you mentioned, I think it will be funny to see how YCS prize cards sometimes are obviously beautiful. Great to see. The greatest example is the one we have now, which is another Verge Dragon, which I would really like to see in a deck in the future, but it's obviously tough. But it's great that a card like number 89, Diabolosis, is finally not only playable, but one of the best cards in the Kashtira deck. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I think to go more into details of what's going on this weekend is that we know that the Ishizu deck is the best deck in the room, no doubts about that. It gets a little support compared to other decks, but the real issue why it will probably stay as the best deck for this weekend is that a deck like Kashtira is released. And we saw in the past events how every deck was simply maining even 9 Bestials in their deck, and a lot of these cards against the tier deck. I don't think you can afford that anymore because of Kashtira being that valid. Because Kashtira is good against tier. It's still a close matchup depending on who wins the role. But the problem is if you main all of these cards, the Bestials are completely useless against Kashtira. So you will find up with a lot of clog and slower hands. And this I think favors a lot tier in game 1. But of course, outside of these big names, we have a lot of new decks and a lot of coming back decks. I think Branded is a huge strategy. It gets a lot of new supports. No, it was already good. We saw it in the past, but it has now been used with the Cartesia card, for example. Grand Guignol being released in the latest set gives it some more access. And again, some of the other decks we have mentioned, so it can go all the way to Flowanderies, Labyrinth, Dogmatica got some huge support in the set. But guys, before saying goodbye, you all know what this moment is about. It is the bet me and Alberto usually go for, so we have to do it. Everyone will be sorry for whatever Alberto picks, although we did break the curse last time, we have to mention it. So what is the deck that's gonna win YCS Lyon?
So I mostly agree with you that Ishizu Tiara will be the deck to be beaten this weekend, but I will go with Kashtira.
Okay.
So pure Kashtira, in my opinion. This is my pick for the weekend. And what about you?
Okay, I'm gonna go for an unfavorable pick. Again, I don't want to pick Ishizu Tierleman just to break things off. And I want to give a shout out. We will have a separate video with our lovely German colleagues about the latest coming Forbidden Unlimited list, which is not in effect for YCS Lyon. But among the huge list of cards on there, one is the Forbidden Statue. So I want to give one last ride to the Flowanderies deck. It got really close with Mario losing in the final last time. Let's see if Flowanderies can finally do it. My pick, just because why not, is going to be Flowanderies. Thank you guys for being with us. This was the meta discussion for YCS Lyon. Keep watching and we'll be back soon with more action.
Welcome back to round 8, the final round of today's coverage here at YCS Lyon. So we've got to get into this very quickly so that these duelists can get home after their match. So on my right, I have Jake McGee, and on my left, I have Pierre Kazoum. And so we're very excited to see exactly how this duel is going to go. Guys, could we do a high roll? Who would like to go first? Jake, you're going to roll first. We'll see which one of you chaps will be doing this. That's an 8 for Jake. And that is a 6 for Pierre. Who's going to go first? You're going to go first? Jake is going to go first. So for the last time today, we're going to hand you guys over to our wonderful German commentary duo. Leo, Basti, take it away one last time for this round 8 match.
Thank you very much, Ed, from us as well. A really warm welcome to the last round of Swiss today.
Indeed, we're cutting it down to 8 rounds today, so players can get home after. So we are putting one of the rounds of Swiss. Look, it's late here. We're putting it over to tomorrow. We're still going to play all the rounds of Swiss in the end, of course, but today it's only going to be 8 rounds of Swiss. And even though this is the last round for today, it's still going to be a very exciting one, because early on we featured Mikanko Libromancer, and it didn't perform that well in our featured match.
It performed well, but it was a little overwhelmed.
Indeed it was, but this time maybe it can perform better, because we found another player that is still doing pretty well in the tournament. So let's see how this feature match is going. Let's start the action in round number 8 of YCS Lyon.
On the other side of the field from Libromancer Mikanko is a tier element deck. Who would have ever imagined?
Yeah, Jake McGee is piloting the most popular deck in the room, and also he managed to win the die roll at the beginning, so he's going to start the action here. And let's see. Oh, he's starting it off with one of the most powerful ones.
Wow. And he is already going to go for a discard Calback. Now the question is, in a game 1, blindly, do you activate the Calback? Yes, you do.
Honestly, I have a little bit of theory towards that, because you are sitting here in the featured match and you are X2 in the tournament, as we can see on the screen. I would personally, if I would be sitting there, expect my opponent to not be on tier elements, because why would they ever try to feature that tier elements mirror match now at the end of the day? And therefore, it's probably rather a more creative deck, and he is indeed facing the Libromancer Mikanko deck. So I think Jake made a pretty clever decision there at the end of the day. And look, he's now reading up on the Mikanko cards, of course.
Yeah, and I think maybe a Libromancer card as well. So 2 archetypes that you have to read up on now.
Yeah.
Also, there is an Agido and a Tillemans Kashtira as well. So 2 further effects that you can trigger. Please do not forget to resolve the Rhino Heart. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And if Agido is going to be activated, he has to read even more cards.
Indeed. And do you know what I find very interesting? There is a new Bestial being released in Photon Hypernova, and it is Bestial Baldrake. And if I recall correctly, that card, at least in our featured matches, has not, for a single time today, hit the board, which is super interesting, because everybody was anticipating this card so much, and Jake successfully managed to mill it here with the Calback, but not a single time have we seen this card on the field. And this card is actually quite good, because it does not only have the effect that all of the Bestials have, banishing a light or a dark, specialing itself, but also you can tribute another monster when your opponent is special summoning an extra deck monster to destroy another card in the field. And we keep on milling, of course.
Don't stop milling the cards. So we are going to see the resolve of Havnis, of course, happening. We are probably going to go into a neat little card called Tirlament Kid Kalos.
Most likely we do. And looking at the list of Pierre Kazum, I gotta tell you, there's not a single thing he could do here on his opponent's turn, because he's not running any hand interactions. That's not his approach, but that does not mean that going second his deck is not prepared, because he's bringing cards such as Enemy Control in his main deck. He's main decking Lava Golem, so there are definitely tools for him. There are definitely cards that he could draw into here, and I'm excited to see which ones he's going to have here in his opening hand.
So now we are seeing Scream and Chiron, so I can just imagine that we have, chained or activated a Nodora. Okay, so you are sending the crime back to the deck so that you can search it off Scream immediately.
Interesting decision. I have to say, most of the Telemans players have lately not been playing Telemans Crime in the main deck anymore, and most of the players have decided that just having second Salik actually is a better card, because the mill effect of Salik is so much better, because searching out a monster is so amazing. And yeah, when you mill Crime, as we just saw, if your opponent didn't interrupt you with a Bestial, it just doesn't do anything in the graveyard. And it's interesting to see that Jake still decided on running the Crime. And yeah,
also Metanoise has gained a lot of popularity lately. We have already talked about the interaction between Metanoise and the Kashtira monsters.
Indeed.
So because they activate after an effect has resolved, you can Metanoise them first, flip them face down, so they don't even activate.
Yeah, true. He doesn't run Metanoise, he just goes with the good old Crime. And also he goes with the good old milling here, special summoning or summoning out the Merly, and now also hitting a Merly to trigger another fusion effect in the graveyard. And yeah, I love to see that Pierre actually is noting down, There's Merle, there's Shire, and there's Hafner, and I think we've seen every single fusion effect now this turn, so there's not going to be any more fusion summons. But there's of course still the possibility to go into Sprite Elf right there, reborning a level 2 monster from the graveyard, or even a Link 2, but at the moment there's only level 2s.
Exactly, you would need a monster on the opposing side of the field to reborn.
But Jor, I think he drew into that Pearl Rhino there with the Garura draw.
That is actually really strong. I know that he has had a lot of engine this turn already, but you can always add a Harvest for the opposing turn, and having the Pearl Rhino is just an extra interaction.
Indeed, and also imagine that your opponent, like that Jake did not have a monster in his hand yet. Crime to resolve actually needs a monster in the hand, so if he didn't have a monster yet in his hand, that was a pretty decent draw there off of the Garura. And yeah, one thing is very interesting. There is already a Lava Golem being milled in the graveyard by Pierre. Therefore, Jake knows that there could be a Lava Golem, and he just goes for the Baguska here turn 1. Actually shutting down his own rule colors. That's pretty interesting. Also, a Merle that he could reborn here with the Sprite Elf wouldn't necessarily do too much. That's actually pretty interesting of a move, I gotta say.
Merle would still be a target for his own Salik.
Yes, that's true. And then you can still fusion summon at least. But like all the fusion monsters that you're going to summon out, what are they supposed to do, really?
I mean,
you can
you enable your Pearl Rhino, but you also have the Mudora for that. But I mean, of course, it's better to have multiple options. You can summon monsters to the field that have good stats or that float when they get sent to the graveyard. So there are options, but I do agree I would have maybe gone for a Time Thief Redoer. Because you can see that your opponent is running a lot of spells, and adding spells to your Time Thief Redoer, it's just free card draw.
Ooh, and look, we're starting it off with the field spell. There was the Pearl Rhino draw for Jake, but now Pierre is also starting it off with his Libromancer field spell, the first appearance.
And this is also the first appearance of this card on stream, because we have only seen it milled before. Yes, I see that you're smiling, you like that one.
Yeah, I love it. Last round of the day and you're still coming up with those jokes. I don't know how your brain is handling that.
It was really far-fetched. It was a tough one to crack.
Yeah, crazy one. But there are a couple of really interesting options now, because there is that Baguska now in defense position. If we somehow manage to link summon into something, that would always enable us to somehow get into a Zeus line or something. So this could be pretty interesting. Oh, we're actually immediately activating the effect of our Keldor Engrave. We will be trying to pop the Libromancer first appearance here with our Pearl Rhino. I couldn't explain in any other way. So that must mean that the effect of first appearance to search...
it activates on activation of the card.
Yeah, true. So...
But there is a second effect to first appearance, which is that you just get a free ritual summon.
Yeah, so he just wants to deny that. We are still fetching out the Libromancer Fire from our deck. And to be honest, the card we're searching here, the Libromancer Fire, is not really that impactful when there's Baguska on the field. But I think I already saw a pretty good card here in the hand of Pierre. I do believe I saw Enemy Controller. One thing about Enemy Controller, though, there is the Sprite Elf protecting the Baguska at the moment from being targeted, which is a problem for sure.
That is true. Now we are going to get a little more information about the hand, and this is a card that we have talked about before, because none of us actually knew.
Yeah, it's a card from Dimension Force, Libromancer Misty Girl, and it's actually kind of an interesting choice to run this card, because on Ritual Summon you can just, what was it? You can target one card your opponent controls and negate it and set its attack to 0, actually. There comes Agent. Agent wants to special summon itself out, once again revealing the Misty Girl in hand.
So the good thing is that when Baguska stops you from activating your Fire's effect, you can still just summon out the Libromancer because you drew them all.
Yeah, indeed. So there is Fire Libromancer on the field. But I don't know, like if I would be Jake here, I wouldn't be too impressed with all of that. Like the only thing I would be afraid of right now is my opponent, Pierre, linking up into like Link 2s, Link 3s potentially. And even if that happens, we still have Tielemans' Crime set, which could just shut that down. And Salik as well, yeah,
and
even that. Yeah, true. There's a lot. There's honestly a lot.
Also, if your opponent really commits into these Link plays, then you can always use Salik and then send your own Baguska. just so your rule colors works again, just so that your elf can special summon out a Merly and that Merly can potentially mill good cards.
Absolutely. So one scenario I could see coming up here is one card that our previous Mikanko deck was not playing, but he is playing. He is playing the Mikanko Ritual spell, which is Mikanko Kagura. And Kagura is a spell that actually is able to destroy a lot of cards on the opponent's side of the field, such as the Baguska. But right now we are going into Codebreaker Virus Swordsman, which is just a generic rank 2 or link 2 rather, which is able to run over Baguska. That has been a choice of a lot of players, specifically Sprite players for the most part, to actually out Baguska. But Pierre is also running that option and he pulls it off here to out that Baguska, and it's in the graveyard now.
But he has invested a lot to summon Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. He just summoned 2 monsters that are supposed to search other cards from your deck, but they couldn't, so Baguska really did its job.
Yeah, I think so. And we're in main phase 2 now, so Jake absolutely is sure he's going to have another turn. I think he's still fine with the situation, especially because he has Crime set still.
Crime and Salik really going to do a lot of work. Also, there is the elf, so we are going to take the elf in the battle phase so that Merly cannot be... Okay, we are in main phase 2.
That is very interesting, because why would you allow your opponent to just use Sprite Elf there?
There might be a plan for that, or this might have been forgotten.
So we are just reborning the Merly, taking the Sprite Elf.
And now let's see if this Merly is going to hit the
first card is already pretty good.
Agido and the Kelbeck. I cannot believe this. He actually gets the Milton off of one single Merly because Pierre did not use the
but we are chaining the elf because there is Diviner of the Herald in the graveyard. So I can see that being a problem. Maybe Jake wants to instantly react on that with his Teeleman Salik, as he does just now.
I think he does, and there would also be the option to tribute something for Teeleman Roll Colors, so Salik wasn't even the only answer to that, and now we are going to mill so many different cards.
There it is coming. I mean, there are Mikanko equip spells going to the graveyard, which would be good for Kagura, as we were talking about that. But he needs Kagura for that, first of all, and also a ritual monster he can summon with it, most likely being Ohime.
Yeah, and he needs some more cards in hand and other resources, but it was nice to see the entire Mikanko deck on the table for once.
Yeah, true, true. So there is Dracostapelia now also hitting the field, being another interruption. So we still haven't used our roll colors. We now have the Dracostapelia as well. There still is a Teeleman's Crime set, and we are about to fusion summon another monster right there.
And the Garura is just immediately back in the extra deck. One of the reasons why Teeleman's is so good, because it is really hard to grind it out of resources.
And look, we are also about to get our own Sprite Elf back into the extra deck as well. Or maybe we're even holding the effect of Kaleido Heart here, because if we...
Nope.
We are just going to use it right away, getting our Sprite Elf into the extra deck, because some people don't know, Kaleido Heart is not only able to shuffle a card back into the deck on summon, but also when an Aqua monster is hitting the graveyard.
Scoop. Pierre decided that this game state, he can't longer sustain his playstyle with this, so he just gave up, and we are going to game 2. This was, again, such a dominant display of why Teeleman is widely considered the best deck in the format.
Yeah, so many layers of interruptions. Every single time when you do one of your effects on field, which is already an interruption, you are getting to another interruption with it. So it is just adding up, and here it was definitely too much for Pierre to overcome, even though he had that very powerful going second card being Enemy Controller.
And there are so many different interruptions. It is really... Sometimes decks can do a lot of one thing, you know, like set up 4 bounces or something like that. Here you have the Shuffle. You have Dragostapelia Negate to negate the effects of a face-up monster.
Yes.
You have Crime as a counter trap. You have Salik.
So much.
You have the Pelerino Pop. You have Roll Colors that works like a solemn warning.
Indeed it does. But I'm really interested to see whether in game 2 now, where Pierre Kazum gets the chance to go first, I'm excited to see what his end board is going to look like, because in the previous featured match where we featured the Liberomancer Mikanko deck, there was one card in the main deck that we expected to be, honestly, in every single one of them, which is Christia, Archlord Christia. But Christia isn't even his list, so
One
his
of the
end board...
coolest boss monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh!
But that means his end board must look a lot different. There must be something else than the Christia, so I'm excited to see what it actually is. But of course, it's going to depend on whether his opponent Jake is having interruptions. Of course, there could be another Hafnis coming down, there could be Kelbecks coming from the hand, so...
Or what is he running in his side deck? Because
That's
there could
also
also
pretty
be
interesting.
Nibiru.
There is Nibiru,
Oh,
indeed.
yeah.
There is a Nibiru, even 2 of them in the side deck, so that could also be an issue. We saw that in the last featured match where this deck was not having the best time against Nibiru. Let's see whether it's coming in here again.
This is a heavy board breaker side deck, let me tell you. This
It's
is 13 cards for going second.
Yeah, but the thing is, something I also
14.
thought that might really be crucial in this matchup here is that Jake McKee actually, even though there are so many Kashtira decks running around, is still focusing on 9 Bestials in his main deck. That's a pretty high count. And in the matchup he's having right now, that's honestly not the best cards to have in your main deck, as we analyzed earlier on, because rather late in the combo they maybe want to Reborn Diviner with Elf, but besides that there's not that many Light and Darkness monsters, so the Bestials are not that great of an interruption. So I could see him siding them out here, but those answers will be given in a second as players are ready, so let's get into the action for game number 2 of our round 8 featured match.
Cards drawn, so we are ready to start game 2. Jake is not going to start this time. He has these beautiful Miracle Fusion sleeves on his side for his extra deck. I adore them. You might see some more of them this weekend. Little spoiler.
True, but let's see what Pierre is cooking up here. He is starting it off with first appearance.
It is the second appearance on stream.
That is absolutely true, but this is also the first time it will be sticking to the board, because last time there was an instant response by the Pearl Rhino effect, but now we are actually immediately using Kashtira Telements here.
That is really aggressive.
Absolutely, but I mean, we're getting rid of the Telements merely from our hand, but also we are going to be able to mill 2 cards, or rather 3 cards.
I'm calling now that he's going to mill Telement Crime.
Okay.
And he
Accepted.
is going to...
Oh, there's Hafnis.
Wow.
There's, okay, we're keeping in the Magna moods apparently.
High risk, high reward. We have hit the name Telement Hafnis, and now we are going to be able to summon a Kid Kalos.
Yep, that is definitely what's going to happen. And yes, we are using the Telements Kashtira from the field, and there is Kid Kalos, but I think the only real thing we can do here is either search out Hafnis, which would then give you another shot of milling good cards, or just instantly going to instantly sending a fusion name to the graveyard to go into roll colors.
Yeah.
So you have like another interruption.
This is one more thing that I really like about playing Telements. Your opponent thinks it's his turn, but no. You are going to start off with your monsters.
Indeed, so there's Roll Color sitting pretty there now. So even though Pierre just started off with 1 card, he's now facing an interruption already. Very obvious being on the field there, Telements Roll Color. So Pierre maybe now has to reconstruct the combo route he was about to play, because there's now an interruption, but he starts it off with Libromancer Fire, and once again he drew into the Misty Girl, which once again will be read by Jake.
And it is a 1-off in his deck, by the way. So this is kind of unlikely.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's too happy about that, because this card doesn't really advance you in your combo.
Yeah, I do agree. So we are activating Fire, revealing the Misty Girl to special summon itself, of course. And Jake probably just considers to negate this with Roll Colors here, I would assume.
I mean, that would be an easy interruption.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you don't...
It just snowballs, right? We saw that earlier. Just that 1 fire is going to get you into so many things, and therefore it's quite a bit of a risk to just let that go through here. But maybe Jake knows the deck, knows where like a choke point of the combo is that he really wants to interrupt, and therefore he just lets it go through here.
So maybe he thinks that he wants to negate the effect of Geek Boy, because you can actually also emergency teleport out the Geek Boy, then activate the effect. So the deck really heavily wants to get this Geek Boy out to get this Spell and Trap Surge.
Yeah, but he's not even going for Geek Boy. He first of all searches out for Libromancer Agent.
I mean, he has the best spell already. he used the first appearance.
Yep, that is true. So, Agent now being added to the hand. Quick explanation from Pierre, but seems like everything is fine there.
So Agent on summon adds back a Libromancer card from the graveyard, which is currently impossible.
Because there are none, you're absolutely right.
Exactly, Sebastian.
So Pierre just added a card. Oh, but we want to
really
ritual
nice.
summon here. And I mean, we read over Misty Girl, and Misty Girl on summon can just negate a monster on the field. And there's a perfect card to negate right now, as there is a Telemann's Rule Color sitting on the field.
You basically have to negate this with Rule Colors, and a Shiren is discarded for it.
Oh, that means we could just go for another fusion summon, and that's absolutely what we're doing. We're using the Magna Mood with our Shiren to go into Mud Dragon here.
And now the Rule Colors is untargetable for the moment because the Mud Dragon of the Swamp is a water type.
That is
water
true.
attribute.
So, what is happening now for Pierre? I think we are somewhat okay with baiting out the Rule Colors interaction there, honestly. Because now that means we can just freely resolve Agent, and from there on we might be able to combo off a little bit more.
I mean, it wasn't even baited, it was forced out.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you can go for the Agent and get back the...
Oh, but we have Ohima in hand as well.
Changes everything.
Ohima.
Oh no, it doesn't change everything because the Mud Dragon is really important here. The good Mikanko equip cards need to target opposing monsters.
Yeah, that is actually true. That could be an issue there. Let's see how he's going about it, though. He is using Ohime here, first of all, in his hand. And, of course, he is going to add one Mikanko card from his deck to his hand. And then he will be discarding one card afterwards. So he's adding the
Ceremony.
Great Mikanko Ceremony. And he might as well just discard it as well, because it has a graveyard effect. But no, we are getting rid of that Misty Girl. It has done enough now in those two games. It can go to the graveyard here.
The Ceremony is actually really important, so you can summon out the Ohime and then you can banish it to use the graveyard effect to send one equip spell from your deck to the graveyard. And this is so important because Ohime can just attach it to a valid target on the field in the next turn, or in this turn even.
And yeah, we are activating the Ceremony, specialing out the Ohime. Using, yeah, looks like he wants to use the effect of Ohime as well.
I think he first has to activate the effect of Ceremony in the graveyard.
Yeah, he's already trying to grab it. So
let me get up the Great Mikanko Ceremony for you guys.
Yeah, you can just banish it to send one Mikanko card from your deck to the graveyard. Yeah.
And you can't activate Ohime unless you have the Ceremony banished because there is no equip spell.
You are probably absolutely right about that.
The next good thing about Ceremony is, as Ohime can't be destroyed by battle, it returns to your hand in the end phase of the opposing turn, which means that you can reveal it again to search out a Mikanko card and then special summon it again.
Yeah, the fun begins once more. That's definitely pretty cool. So I can see that being his game plan, honestly. Just setting up Ohime and a couple of other things so your opponent does not really have a way to play through your board, and then you just ritual summon Ohime with the Mikanko ritual spell being Mikanko Kagura to just break his board and then go for some kind of an OTK.
So the Reflection Rondo is sent to the GY, but I think that this Mud Dragon of the Swamp is really doing a lot of work here.
Yep, I do agree. So we are now using Ohime to get Reflection Rondo.
Do equip spells target?
Let me just read up on Reflection Rondo again. So you can only equip it to an opponent's monster. I think just equipping an equip spell is not really targeting.
Then this is still really strong.
And yeah, you just take control of it. Actually, I do think that absolutely works. So that Mud Dragon is not really hindering here, and he now has a Telemann's Rule Colors on his field.
Then this is a lot better than I thought.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But it makes me question why he did not go for Water Arabesque. Because in that scenario, he could have equipped it to a monster and then send it back to the extra deck, special summon out a Hare, and then get another one that in this situation could be the Reflection Rondo to take over a monster. So he would out both cards and have the option to have more in the graveyard.
Yeah, you're right. That's a pretty interesting decision. So he points towards the Rukalos. So Reflection Rondo is equipping the Rukalos here. And what is he doing from here on? Because he has not even gone into his extra deck in this turn yet. And we know that this deck is capable of Link summoning a whole bunch. Also, he's playing like, we were surprised about seeing Dynamondo in his extra deck, which is a new addition to the extra deck, because you need 2 monsters, including original monsters for it. And if you read up on Dynamondo, that effect is actually quite crazy. Yeah, it's really, really good. I knew that there was amazing ritual support in Amazing Defenders, but Photon Hypernova even gives you additional support here in the form of a Link monster.
So now we are going to see the first Link monster. Really good linking of the roll color, so it cannot return to the field because it wasn't sent via an effect. Ooh. And we are seeing the Codebreaker again. And wow, now Illusion of Chaos as well. This is starting to get really
seems
good.
About right. And now finally that fire was in the graveyard so that the Libromancer agent could actually add something back. We're linking up even more. Do we go for Isolde here? Yes, we do. Indeed, we do go for Isolde. And now it makes sense that he went for the Codebreaker, because that's actually a warrior. So he needed another warrior for the Isolde, and that's working out perfectly, because I think we're just about to combo off now as well.
The only thing that I ask myself is, could you not just take the field spell, the first appearance, and then send it with Magician's Souls later to get an extra door? Or do you just want to keep the... I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Keep the first appearance in hand for follow-up. Because I think it's better follow-up than fire.
Both options are viable, but for now he's just summoning out the Renault, and something really interesting I noticed is he's running double Infernoble Knight Renault. And we saw the last Mikanko Infernoble, no, it's not even Infernoble, but there is an Infernoble Knight Renault in there. The last Mikanko Libromancer player playing only one of this, but playing 2 of this actually means if you hard draw one of them, you still have 1 more in the deck to special summon out with your Isolde. So he just did that right there. And there maybe now is the reason why he wasn't able to special summon out the Hare, because he may have had that Hare in his hand all the time.
That explains everything, and now we are going to see the next Mikanko spell, which is Mikanko Fire Dance, which reborns a monster from your graveyard and attaches to it. You have the option to special summon one for your opponent as well, but you don't have to.
Probably you rather would not want to do it, and so there he is, special summoning out the Renault as he's controlling a Fire Warrior.
I mean, there are some applications for summoning an opposing monster, because you can summon out like an effect Veiler in attack position if your opponent only has big monsters and then attack over it to go for the necessary damage.
Yeah, that sometimes can come up. Also, there are like very niche and neat interactions that some of the, for example, Nini. He's also playing Nini, the Mirror Mikanko, and that from time to time can actually do damage in other ways, because it actually says it cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage that you would have taken. So you can just actually reborn a very strong monster from your opponent
as well,
and then just attack into it, and so it could be a lot of damage for your opponent that way.
There's going to always be a way to deal damage.
Yeah. Do you know what that card reminds me of?
You bet.
No, I was just thinking about the Recital Starling, because Recital Starling also makes your opponent have battle damage that you would get as well. So they are similar in that aspect, and they also both have 0 attacks, so they are kind of comparable in that. But of course, the one monster is an extra deck Exceed monster, and this one is just a normal main deck monster, or an effect main deck monster.
All of those monsters have 0 attacks. Yubel as well.
Yeah, true. All of them have. So, but now, for now, there is not Nini on the field, but only Hari, the other main deck Mikanko monster. Fire Dance now being on the field, and we went into Herald of Arclight once again, and I think it's a pretty interesting situation here to have that card on the field, as there already is Mud Dragon being face up on the field, and Mud Dragon already means he can just go battle phase, run over the Herald, but let's not forget that's actually quite okay for us, because we're going to get Ohima back to our hand and end phase, and therefore our opponent running over Herald of Arclight in battle phase means we're going to have another turn.
Also, Ohime will stop you.
Yeah. Oh, that as well, you're right.
Ohime can just take away the Mud Dragon.
That's true, that's true. So, let's see. What are we having here? Looks like that is about what Pierre could do here. It's not looking as impressive as some of the Kashtira end boards that deck is also capable to produce, but he's not running Kashtira, so he has to take a different approach.
So we're setting one more card. Another option would have been the Libromancer Doombroker plus a trap card, the Intervention.
Yeah, it is Intervention indeed.
But we did not have access to that just here because of the rule clause.
True. So, is that all that Pierre... Oh no, Pierre is not done. Pierre is not done. We're
makes sense.
Summoning Magician Souls.
And we are going to send the beautiful Starlight Rare Illusion of Chaos.
But it almost looked like a normal summon, right?
Oh yeah, that could also be true.
That definitely looked like a normal summon.
Now we are going for another Link summon. What is he running in his extra deck?
Well, let me see. So there's potentially Appaloosa coming, but right now there's no Link for opportunity. But there now is IP Masquerena, which in his opponent's turn now gives you the option to go into Appaloosa with the Soldier that's already on the field.
And oh, you can take away a monster of your opponent and use that as Link material as well. That is really cool.
That is actually true, yeah.
To go for Rondo and just take one monster and immediately link it away.
Yeah, there's so many neat interactions the deck has, and the best part about it is that your opponents most likely don't know about any of those interactions because the Mikanko engine is so new and people have not discovered it enough. And the chances that Jake actually exactly knows what all those Mikanko interactions are is pretty low. And therefore, I think Pierre might have won a couple of games today already by his opponents just not really being aware of what those cards do. And we're now instantly taking control of the Rhino Heart there.
And this one did not activate the effect, obviously, because Herald of the Arclight would have just banished the card immediately. And now we have Avramax that cannot be destroyed by card effects. This one, remember, is a powerful card that very few Telements player managed to out. And this is an immediate scoop. Mikanko wins for the first time on stream today.
I love that. It was a pretty cool and interactive end board that Pierre created there, even though Jake very quickly got to summon out Telements rule colors. But he wasn't impressed. He just took control of it because we learned that equipped spell cards don't even target, and therefore he could just take it even though there was a Mud Dragon on the field.
You learn something new every day.
Indeed, we did. You guys at home probably already knew that, but still, for us, it was a new thing. So no, we just refreshed our knowledge on that, of course.
Exactly.
But let's see what the going first options for Jake McGee are now. And you were really impressed with his side deck, featuring so many board breaker going second cards, and with so many of them, there's honestly not that many room, or not that much room to play any going first cards. And if you look at it, is there even a single one?
I mean, honestly, it's half a library. Which can't be too good against Libromancers. Oh god, this is nice. Too many books versus the Libromancers.
Yeah. But yeah, like the going first options are really limited. I mean, you could potentially side in Book of Lunar Eclipse because just booking 2 monsters on your opponent's turn does not feel too bad when you already established the board. So that is something you could have. Because maybe you really want to get rid of all those Bestials in your main deck. We saw that he kept the Magna Moods, but overall, I don't think those Bestials are too amazing versus the Libromancer deck.
That is true, but maybe they are going first at least better than the book cards.
Yeah,
I mean, they can
definitely
be
something
an absolute blowout for your opponent if you set a Book of Eclipse.
Yeah.
I mean, you will give them so many draws in the end phase, but if you manage to flip 3 monsters face down, it's going to be really hard to play around that, even though you can still tribute them as a material for a ritual summon.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% like Book of Lunar Eclipse in that situation more than Book of Eclipse because
less draws.
Lunar Eclipse doesn't give your opponent draws then at the end of the turn. Yeah, I don't think you gotta go with Book of Eclipse. I like Bestials more than Book of Eclipse, for sure, I do agree. But Lunar Eclipse, I can see that. Maybe that is coming in.
Nibiru is also a really good card going in for a start.
Yes, I do like that as well. But the one thing that Jake has to think about here is your real desired end board going to be Baguska Pass once again? I mean, he had more stuff than that, but do you really just want to summon out a monster that makes half of your end board unable to do stuff? I don't really see the point of it.
I don't think that's going to be his plan, but we will soon find it out as we are going to shift over to the game. Guys, be ready for Game 3 of the final featured match of Day 1 of YCS Lyon.
here we are. Also, this time he will not have to trigger Tieleman's Kashtira that quickly because it is his own turn, so he can just take a or he can just take a slower approach to all of that. He doesn't need to rush with activating the effect of Tieleman's Kashtira. So
that is true. That was a really bold play, but he got rewarded for it.
Yeah, and
well, I mean, he lost the game after that, but
yeah, but it looked good. He at least hit a card to
good,
Fusion Summon, so that was kind of nice. So looking at the side deck of Pierre Kazum, there are a lot more going second cards coming in from game 3 now as well. He has the potential to side in Artifact Lancea. Book of Eclipse is also a card he's side decking. Jacqueline no more, I don't really love versus the Tieleman's deck, but maybe the one copy he's siding is also coming in. But there's also Kurikara Divincanate, which is getting more and more popular lately, and he's running 2 copies of that too.
Neat cards that we haven't seen in the featured matches so far, but they definitely have applications in the current format. So
yeah.
Jake is probably going to start this one off. I'm going to be... It's exciting to see what Pierre can do with his deck going second, because we know that it can put out big combo boards, but
we're starting things off here with Caldo discarding the Kelback.
That is ideal.
That searches us a Mudora, and that will also enable our Kelback in the graveyard to make both players mill 5 cards here. So that's absolutely what we're going to do. Let's see what the mills are.
So we have Tieleman's Kashtira, which will mill 2 more cards, and Scream, which will search for a trap card, which is good.
Yeah.
Because you want those. But there is not really a play so far. Let's see what else Jake can put out.
We're again going for the Tieleman's Crime, as we did in game number 1. What else are we milling though? Salik will definitely give us another monster.
Yeah, and now we can search for Shiren to discard the Mudora, and then you already have one of your Tieleman cards in play.
Yeah, and you theoretically also already have Baguska on board, because you are then left with 2 level 4 monsters.
Never
but
change a running system.
Depending on the mills we're getting there, we might as well be able to do more, and there is even Agido in the hand. We're resolving Mudora, discarding Agido, milling 5 more
even the
cards.
heartbeat to add back the Salik that was milled earlier.
That is pretty strong, not gonna lie.
So we are ending on double trap again, and there are so many resources in the graveyard before the first fusion has hit the field already. This is a dream start for Jake.
Yep, and also we hit a name to fusion summon. Shiren is being used. Shiren and Tieleman's Kashtira together will be fusioned for a Tieleman's Kid Colors once more. So many Tieleman's monster with a K in it. Actually, it's only Tieleman's Kashtira and Kid Colors, now that I think about it. No, there's Kaleido Heart as well.
That is true. By the way, do you know what I would have liked?
Go ahead, what is it?
You have seen Lava Golem.
Yep.
In game 1. Gather resources and somehow just end on 1 monster. Just end on a Baguska and pass.
So
if that is possible.
You did like the Baguska pass now.
Just Baguska pass, so you can't get Lava Golemed over it, so there is maybe a card that your opponent can't use, and then in the turn after that, you OTK, so you don't invest all your resources into your board that can get broken with the Lava Golem or other cards like Evenly Matched, which are popular against the deck.
Yeah, but...
I mean, you have the traps.
Do you know what I dislike about that? Enemy Controller is a pretty good card versus just Baguska.
Oh, fair enough. And you have the traps that are not able to activate if you don't have a tier card. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So we are going for the Mill 5 with the Kid Colors, and also the special summoned Rhino Heart will send another monster to the graveyard, probably just triggering another name to fusion summon here.
Yeah, Merly and Havness are still open. Shiren was the only one that was used so far, so we are going to see the last 2 fusion summons of the turn happening quite soon.
Yep, we are using Havness and Merly here. So one of the fusions is just certainly going to be Rule Colors. There goes Havness, and yep, there's the Kid Colors, so that could also be Dracostopelia, but I'm quite certain we are just going for Rule Colors, as that also gives us more ways to fusion summon on our opponent's turn later on.
And it is kind of a better interruption than Dracostopelia in most of these situations, especially when you're playing against those ritual decks. You can stop the ritual summon from happening in the first place.
For sure, for sure. So, the second fusion summon, and also, as you said, the last fusion summon of the turn is happening here. probably going to be Garura. Yeah, just going to be Garura again. So I think the end board we're creating here is going to be super similar to the one we did in game 1. Just going to be Elf again. But the thing is, this time we don't have Merle in the graveyard, so Elf is not even that great.
And how do you make Elf here?
Oh, that's... Yeah, okay, we would have to take the extra step of summoning Dark. I mean, look, we are just going for Baguska again, and are we just passing on that Garura on the field? Oh, okay, we just have normal summon Merle. That actually is
I wanted to see Merle in defense position, by the way.
Yeah, it should have gone to the defense position, but we just skipped that part really quickly. We are drawing a card with Garura, so apart from that one Rhino Heart that's also chilling there on the field, the end board is exactly the same. We're special summoning back the Merle.
I mean, it is another card that you can just send away for a
wow,
we're
setting four cards, but that leaves us with no cards in hand. So the Telemann's Crime we set there is not going to be able to be activated because you need to discard a monster for it.
Then maybe I would have not summoned them early.
Yeah, true.
Because this could very well be a Lightning Storm coming down here.
I mean, there is... Oh yeah, there is Lightning Storms in the side deck. So...
Or Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't know if he has sided those, because he knows his opponent is playing Crime. So maybe it's not worth putting it in the main deck for game 3. But, I mean, Crime can't be activated at this point, and it doesn't even have a target if it gets destroyed. There's only Mudora banished.
Yeah, honestly, I'm quite surprised by Jake just setting all of the 4 cards there, because you are giving your opponent the information now. Pierre knows, okay, yeah, he has Crime, but he can't use it. So that is definitely an advantage he has here. If he just kept, for example, just keep the Crime in hand then, and your opponent always will play around Crime now, but you don't even have it as your back row card.
I mean, he played around Lava Golem, so the trap cards can still be used if you tribute 2 tree element monsters.
Okay, we're starting off with Liberamancer Fire, revealing Cyber Angel Benton.
Benton usually a card that searches Christian.
Yeah, true, but here in that case definitely won't. And looks like we're resolving that. Yep, Liberamancer Fire is being summoned to the field.
Not going to activate the effect on summon though.
Oh, and we're instantly linking it away, so we have a linked one monster here that can be summoned, and it's Lingerevo, because he doesn't really look like it, but Liberamancer Fire is a Cybers monster. You couldn't tell on the first view, but yes, he is.
Honestly, Basti, I knew. I always knew.
All right.
Oh, and now we are going to see Preparation of Rites. Everyone who played in Necros format just has nice flashbacks. This card is insanely strong.
Yeah, it definitely is, and also it profits off of the mill effects of the Ishizus, because there might as well already be a ritual spell in the graveyard that you could potentially add back. No, there isn't though. In that particular instant, there isn't. And also, if there would have been, maybe Jake would have just chained the Shuffler there.
That is a really good point, which is also pretty strong against the Great Ceremony of Mikanko.
That's
because
true.
Then you can't send your card, or if you send your card, oh, we are immediately searching, and this is also really strong.
There is Reflection Rondo being added. Oh no, it's Water Arabesque. Yeah, they're very same looking, but this is definitely Water Arabesque.
Usually you could negate this card with Roll Colors. In this scenario, you can't because you have the Baguska.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like your end board is kind of working against each other.
Yeah.
Like your Roll Colors is strong, but there's Baguska just shutting it down.
There is a card in hand, by the way.
Oh, wait, is it? Oh, you're right. How did he have another card in hand?
We have a little bit of a bigger screen than you guys, so we can actually see that there is one more card in hand.
Ooh.
So Crime might be
probably
really
is live,
right
to
now.
be honest. Probably Crime is still live. So he's double reading the Water Arabesque. He better does, because that card is super powerful, and I think it's worth interrupting, and I do believe that's just what we're going to do. Probably... Oh, we have the Telemann's Heartbeat.
is really good for that. But you also have to discard a card, so now we have reached the limit of what Crime can do.
I mean, on the other hand, if it is a fusion effect, we can just summon out Kid Colors. Kid
And
Colors
then not
searches
search
up
because Baguska is on the field.
You're right. True.
Yes.
That is a problem.
It is.
That is a problem indeed. So maybe that's what he's thinking. Also, that means that Jake drew into the Heartbeat with the effect of Garura, because Heartbeat earlier on was milled and then being shuffled back into the deck. and therefore that was absolutely his Garura draw in this instance.
So we have the Dragostapelia on the field now, not doing too much in defense position while Baguska is on the field. And now we are seeing triple tactic talents. And this card could actually be a bit of a blowout here. You can just take Baguska and then change it to attack position, go for a nice Zeus play. Crime is activated. There is another card in hand.
There's another card in hand. How many cards did he start the duel with? It looked like he had an opening hand of 8 cards. That is pretty insane. He had another discard, so there was 2 monsters left in his opening hand. Oh.
And it is another triple tactic talents. This card, when negated, can just be used again, because it says this card can only be activated once per turn and not used.
Yes, so he's already tackling his Baguska for last time, saying goodbye as it's going over to Pierre. And Pierre most likely is just going to put that card into attack position to, as you said, go into a Zeus play, potentially.
You can run over the elf. When Salik is activated, we have Linguribo on the field to negate and banish it, so you don't even get the surge off of it. You deal a lot of damage, a little bit of damage on the elf, and then you can go for a Zeus play, which would immediately be answered by Dragostapelia, because Baguska is not really on the field anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, can't you can actually run over the Dragostapelia here, right? Because Dragostapelia, I think, is only on 1900 defense. So Baguska could out the Dragostapelia, but we are trying to run over Sprite Elf.
Maybe there is another answer for the Dragostapelia in the back for his hand. Maybe he has another Mikanko equip spell. We are just going to take 800 damage.
I'm telling you something. I can already picture how this is going down. I think enemy controller is a thing. He's just going to use the effect of Zeus. His opponent is trying to respond, and then you tribute away the monster that you were just using the effect of being the Zeus. I can definitely see that happening here.
That is true. However, you end on nothing then, and Rule Colors is just going to summon itself back, and Merly is also going to trigger then.
You're right, that is certainly a problem.
It is all a bit suboptimal.
So, yep, he's immediately pointing towards the Dragostapelia, and of course Jake does not want to waste any time on that, because there's only 4 more minutes left on the round, and Pierre just did 700 damage. Yeah, but there is no enemy controller. No enemy controller. That's rough here for Pierre.
And time is a dangerous factor for Pierre now, because this Linguribo does not have a lot of attack.
That is indeed true. But there is Kurikara Divincanate. We were talking about it earlier, and he actually brought it into the main deck here after side decking. And this card is absolutely insane. They were just counting the monster effect that have been used, and we're tributing the Dragostapelia away for Kurikara Divincanate there.
But there is still the same issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is that Dragostapelia is now gone, but Rule Colors is there, and Linguribo is in attack position.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, in the long run, that's a pretty good thing to have here, but he also gets to reborn something with Kurikara Divincanate in the end phase, so maybe that would be something that could help him. Like, he could reborn with Dragostapelia, but let's be honest, that doesn't prevent the battle damage, so that will be interesting to see.
That is true. He can also go for a Link 2 play, go for an IP Masquerena, maybe have another card. No, he does not. He is going to have to face the Rule Colors and especially a Sprint.
Yep, that's true. I mean, he probably just didn't want to use the end phase effect of Kurikara, because that would have been answered with the effect of Rule Colors, because as far as I'm aware, he did not even use Rule Colors all along the turn.
Oh, and then you could just tribute off the Merly and go for a Kid Colors in the end phase. This would be so much more resources.
So, okay, yeah, we're thinking in draw phase apparently. So, checking out the graveyard there. But we gotta be aware, if you're running over Linguribo or Kurikara here, that means that the Zeus could actually trigger, and the Zeus could actually get another material. So that's something we have to be aware of.
That is correct, Basti. I don't think that you are fearing that, though, because you have the Salik set. There is Linguribo, but if you run over the Linguribo, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Will
so
be interesting
every win condition that Pierre is finding for himself, there is just one more problem that Jake makes him face.
So we are now immediately switching all of our monsters into attack position. Jake just wants to get battle damage in here. He just checks on how much attack points Kurikara currently is on.
It is 1,500.
No, I think it's 3k actually, because it's by nature 1,500 and gains attack for each once attributed. So it should be on 3k right now.
So we were just running over the Linguribo. Let's see if the Zeus actually attaches material, because it still has a counter, but okay, it doesn't have a counter anymore now. But I mean, maybe he even forgot about the Zeus effect.
Oh, I mean, it still has the counter, but it's a permanent effect. Oh, but I think that Salik is a little bit too late, right?
He just did not attach. Because when you run over it, it's damaged.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He just did not activate Zeus.
Probably not, yeah. Probably
and
not.
Now we are, I think, probably still in battle phase. Tribute the Merly away. We can just go for another big fusion. There is a Rhino-Heart on the field, which means that Kaleido-Heart is an option here.
It absolutely is. And Pierre, when you're looking at his face, he's not really liking the situation he's in right now, because Jake looks like he's in the driver's seat here a lot more. Also looking focused, looking very, very confident about this game here.
Yeah, we can just go for Kaleido-Heart. Now the Zeus is negated for all of the times. Okay, now it's shuffled back to the extra deck. I was gonna say you can just easily send away the Kurikara with the Kaleido-Heart, because this Zeus is not going places anymore.
Yeah, that is true indeed. So that means we have Kaleido-Heart and Rule Colors on the field together now, which is honestly quite strong, because Rule Colors can also trigger the Kaleido-Heart, so it's just a really neat combination. Of course, the combination of Kaleido-Heart and Salik is also amazing, because sending the Kaleido-Heart to the graveyard by the effect of Salik will then give you the option to trigger the graveyard effect of Kaleido-Heart, of course.
Yeah, that one is
it's a lot.
Crazy.
It's a lot.
Can just summon itself back and then send a Telement card from your deck to the graveyard, which will immediately trigger. And also the Kaleido-Heart effect can chain block it, so you can't even be ashed or ghost belt on those effects. I mean, you can ghost belt the Kaleido-Heart effect.
Yeah, but there is the Ohime coming down. Ohime will be searching out another Mikanko card, then sending one card to the graveyard. What is it going to be? Are we just going for Great Ceremony?
I think Ceremony is out, so we are going for the Arabesque, and then the Kaleido-Heart is going to be sent to the extra deck again. Rule Colors can always negate that, keep that in mind. Ohime is discarded. So, Water Arabesque.
Yep, there is Water Arabesque, and he's targeting the Rule Colors. All right. So, any response from Jake there? Oh, he has Twin Twister as well. Twin Twister discarding the Chiron, taking away that Water Arabesque. And I think Pierre is down to a singular card in his hand. Can he do something with it?
The chances of him coming back are really low, but there is always an option. The game is not over unless the last card of the game is played. Salik is activated, targeting Kurikana Divincarnate. Now Kaleido-Heart is sent to the graveyard.
And you know what?
Called by the grave onto the Kaleido-Heart.
By the grave. That's strong. I think we're in the end phase currently of Pierre's turn, because Jake was like, okay, yeah, in the end phase, I might as well just use Salik to get some value off of my Kaleido-Heart, but he's not getting any value now, as that Called by the Grave is coming down, and Kurikara and Rukalas both are on 3k attack. That's kind of funny.
That's true. Now we are going to prevent this Kaleido-Heart from being banished by activating Kaldo, the Sacred Protector, shuffling it back to the extra deck, not really shuffling it to the extra deck, but sending it back to the extra deck and shuffling Heartbeat and Kashtira Telements to the deck.
Yeah, I would have been a bit surprised if he goes for the Heartbeat, because let's be honest, Heartbeat is not really a top deck you want to have there, because drawing Heartbeat in that situation is not going to give you anything.
That is true.
So he's switching the Kurikara to defense position, and I gotta say, Kurikara does only gain attack points, and therefore the Rukalas is now able to run over it.
So,
oh wait, it's negated, and therefore it probably is not boosted anymore. So most likely,
I think that is an effect that was used when it was summoned, so it keeps the attack.
It doesn't matter anyways, as timeout has just been announced, and that means that Jake McGee is the winner of our round 8 and our final feature match of the day, defeating the Mikanko Libromancer deck of Pierre Kazoum. And once again, that deck couldn't really shine in this one, right? We would have wished that Libromancer Mikanko would have finally get the spotlight we wanted it to
Maybe
give.
it was just missing the Christia.
Maybe
but I mean,
that was
it
the
won
problem.
the game that it could start.
Yeah, that is actually true. So we talked a lot today. I don't think we have to talk a lot more. So goodbye from the commentator side. See you tomorrow with more featured matches. And now Ed will also give you a short goodbye to end this beautiful day of YCS coverage.
Thank you very much, guys. What a long, slogged round. It's quite nice to have you guys just to my right over here. I can give you guys a wave, and it makes everything quite nice. But that is going to be the end of our coverage of today. 8 rounds. We normally do 9, but we're going to be moving 9 to tomorrow, as it's now gotten quite late. So after round 9, the first round that we're going to have tomorrow, we then get to cut to the top 256. We'll then have rounds 10, 11, and 12 of Swiss with those top cut players. Then we get into our top 64 cut. And then, as some of you already know, but to explain to those of you at home who don't know, 64, 32, 16, top 8, then top 4, and then the final. So that's basically how it's going to work tomorrow. So that's going to be 10 whole rounds of content that you guys are going to be seeing tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be worth every single one of it. Thank you very much to all of you guys who have tuned in here on the YouTube and the Twitch to watch all of our coverage here at YCS Lyon today. There's plenty more tomorrow. We're going to be starting that at 9 AM local time here, which is in about 10 hours, just under 10 hours, so pretty good. We'll see you guys in 10 hours. I've been Ed Temple, your host. Looking forward to coming back tomorrow with all of our wonderful commentary team, Marcello, Alberto, Sebastian, and Leonard. It's been great fun from all of us. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.